Why are there so many shows starring Muppets and dozens of movies too? They said they'd watch everyone and they mean it. It's something that they've got to do. So now they pledge you a lifelong commitment. The Muppets, Matthew and Sam.
Welcome to Commitment, the podcast where two friends have vowed to watch all things Muppets. I'm Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And this week we are going back to Fraggle Rock to discuss the episodes that aired in April of 1983. And those are episodes 13 through 16, titled We Love You, Wembly, The Challenge, I Don't Care, and Capture the Moon. But first, Sam, I have an update on Jim's Red Book.
Oh.
It's gone again.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'd seen somewhere that it was back very briefly for you to capture it.
Well, and I made the horrible mistake of not backing up everything. I prioritized going in and backing up everything from 1981 until Jim finished writing in it. So I have everything that we're going to need going forward. But as far as like a historical document backed up thing, I don't have anything before 1981 really backed up. So if it comes back again, I'll go back and do that. But sadly, yes, it is gone. So for, the average person who wants to go check it out, it is unfortunately gone right now. And I'm very grateful that I backed up what I did because it has been invaluable as a research tool since I've been doing this podcast. And hopefully it'll come back in some form at some point. I don't really know. I don't run websites. I don't really know what it takes to keep a website up and going.
Yeah.
But it seems like that one is a troublesome one. The other thing I want to talk about before we get into talking about Fraggle Rock today is that by the time you're hearing this, but not yet by the time we're recording this, the Muppets are going to be on the Schoolhouse Rock 50th Anniversary Sing-Along on ABC. This is happening on February 1st. And it seems bizarre. And I don't really know what to expect from it, but it's this weird. It seems like a concert special kind of thing where a bunch of people are performing a bunch of Schoolhouse Rock songs in their own version. The commercial featured Kermit and Fozzie, so I don't know if they'll be performing, if the Electric Mayhem will be performing, if they'll be like duetting with the Black Eyed Peas or something. Like, who knows? But
or if they'll even be singing. You think? I guess it's possible. They could just pop up for a skit and then say,
"Yeah, that's true."
Yeah. Has Holy Moly taught you nothing?
I guess that's true. I don't want to get my hopes too high, but yeah.
Oh wait, this says I found hot. Here's a late breaking scoop.
People will hear this after it has happened.
And Fortune Feimster will sing "Unpack Your Adjectives."
All right,
that's what it says.
I didn't realize Fortune Feimster sang.
Well, let's see who else is singing. Cal Penn, he's singing.
They do know singers exist and can be hired, right?
Jason Biggs, he's one of the singers.
Where's he been?
He's been preparing for this.
It's like, all right, had sex with the pie, now what?
He's been learning how to sing "I'm Just a Bill."
That's that what he's singing?
Yeah. And the Black Eyed Peas are singing 3 is a magic number. That makes sense.
There's 4 of them.
I know, but
there's 3 regular, always there members of Black Eyed Peas. But yeah, I don't know where at this point you'll be able to watch this Schoolhouse Rock special back. I'm assuming either Hulu or Disney Plus will have it, if not both, after it has aired. So yeah, we'll probably talk about that a little bit next time after we've actually been able to watch it. So that's enough about something we haven't watched. Sam, how about you tell the people what we did watch this week?
First, we watched We Love You, Wembly, which aired April 4th, 1983. Wembly would do just about anything to help his friends. Unfortunately for him, his friends know that and ask for his help with just about everything all the time. One particularly hectic day ends with him trapped under a giant rock that he's carrying around for Moki, but when Wembly calls out for help, there's no one around to come help him. No one, that is, except for a Fraggle named Lou, who gets the rock off of him, tends to his wounds, and tells him that he deserves to rest. Since she's the only person who's ever been nice to Wembly in his entire life, he immediately falls in love with her. Moki deduces that he is in love and pressures Wembly to go to the trash heap to figure out what to do about it. The trash heap gives Wembly a potion so that Lou will love him back, but through a wacky series of events, the potion ends up dropped in the Fraggle pool and makes all the Fraggles fall in love with Wembly, but just for like 5 seconds. But that is still too intense for Wembly, who tells Moki that he needs to express and experience love in his own way. So Wembly goes and finds Lou and tells her that he likes her, and she says she likes him too, and off they go skipping through the Fraggle caves holding hands. The moral: follow your own heart in the ways of love, and don't try to take shortcuts. Up in outer space, Doc makes Sprocket help him build an invention, which annoys Sprocket, but then Doc buys him a hot dog. Next up, the challenge.
I just love how brief that was, which is, not inaccurate, but it was just like, and they're there.
Well, kinda.
Yeah, no.
He
Again,
buys him a hot
not
dog.
incorrect, but very succinct.
Next up, The Challenge, airing April 11th, 1983. Gobo has arranged for the gang to go on a picnic, but Red can't go because she has a swim meet. So she asks if they can reschedule, and Gobo refuses to reschedule, so Red decides it's not fair that Gobo gets to be the leader and decide what they do all the time, and she declares herself the leader and says that the picnic will be tomorrow. Gobo and Red start yelling at each other, and they and Boober, who's trying to mediate, decide that they should go to the trash heap so she can help them figure out this whole mess. On their way through the Gorg garden, Red and Gobo start to fight again, and Pa Gorg sees them and puts a basket on top of them so that Junior can come out later and catch them. Junior goes out and sits on the basket before Pa tells him what's in it, and the Fraggles are trapped inside of it. Red has an idea to pretend to be a genie in the basket who will grant Junior wishes as long as he promises to never look in the basket. But this just makes Junior paranoid that somebody's going to look in the basket, so he sits on it and refuses to get off. Then Gobo convinces Junior that he's got a deadly illness, which Junior comes to believe, even going so far as to die, in quotes, and fall to the ground. Unfortunately, he's fallen right in front of the Fraggle hole, so Gobo, Red, and Boober have to sing a snappy funeral dirge to Junior until he can't help but get up and dance, and then they escape. I'm sure Red and Gobo make up at some point during all of this, but I don't remember.
I'm not sure they do.
Okay.
That's one of my biggest notes about this episode, actually, is like, the plot does not resolve.
No. The moral? I don't know. I guess don't be bossy. Is that what the moral is?
We'll definitely get into this, but I think the morals and lessons in this batch are a bit more hidden than they have been.
Yeah. Some of them are a little tricky. Up in outer space, Doc bought a new computer and a game called Zombie Attack. He and Sprocket get a little too competitive trying to get the high score until their neighbor comes over and he just beats the pants off both of them in the high score department. Then they find a nice cooperative game that they can play together. Next up, we watched I Don't Care, which aired April 18th, 1983. Boober has been feeling unusually brave lately, thanks to the lucky bottle cap that the trash heap gave him. He's even feeling brave enough to go into outer space. Wembly, however, thinks that's a really bad idea and tries to wrestle Boober away from the entrance to Doc's workshop, and in the tussle, the bottle cap falls into a bottomless chasm, and Boober is again luckless and terrified, not to mention very mad at Wembly. Boober goes back to the trash heap, and this time he gets a lucky blanket. Moki takes it from him, though, when he goes back to Fraggle Rock to use it as a costume for her play. Red ends up wearing it as a cape, but she starts messing around and gets the blanket covered in paint and grime. So Boober is again pissed that his friends messed up another of his belongings and secludes himself in his room until Moki comes and tells him that she's booked the Hall of Justice so the other Fraggles can decide if Boober has indeed been wronged. In the Hall of Justice, Red starts acting the fool again, making a mockery of the whole process and generally flailing around until she ends up spilling a big cup of blueberry juice all over the blanket. She laughs this off, which really sets Boober off, so he rampages through the caves, smashing doozer constructions, and ends up shoving Wembly into a doozer tower, which crushes him and seems to kill him, but he's really just knocked out. But he can't make him wake up.
He looks
So Boober,
really, really dead.
He gets thrown so hard into that Boober
Well,
tower,
and they
or
bring
that
him into
doozer tower.
the room to help him. His tongue's dangling out of his mouth and his
Yeah.
eyes are all just wide open. And like,
Yeah.
he looks really dead.
Yeah. It's disturbing. So Boober is horrified by his actions and drags Wembly back home. There he finds that Moki and Red have tried to wash his blanket but shrunk it. He uses the shrunk towel as a cold compress to revive poor Wembly, and Red says she's sorry for being disrespectful, but Boober takes the opportunity to teach his friends how they should have actually washed his blanket, which makes him happy enough that he kind of forgets the whole thing. Wembly comes back to life too. Yeah, I said that. He's okay. He's fine.
Yeah, he just kind of wakes up on his own.
The moral, don't make light of things that your friends think are important, and also don't push your friends into big things and crush them to death. Up in outer space, Doc invents a robot Sprocket to go get the paper every morning. He thinks he's helping, but Sprocket feels replaced. Luckily, the robot shreds the paper and Doc can't get it to work, so he just gets rid of it and everything goes back to normal. Finally, we watched Capture the Moon, originally airing April 25th, 1983. Every month, the full moon appears in the pool in the middle of Fraggle Rock, and to celebrate this beautiful event, a new Fraggle is named Moon Greeter and is tasked with coming up with their own special way of celebrating the moon's arrival. So this month is Gobo's turn, and he's got a really special idea. He thinks that they should capture the moon so that they can enjoy it all the time. Unknown to them, what they think is the moon is actually the reflection of the real moon from the Gorg Garden down through their well into the pool. The Gorgs have a different relationship with the full moon. It gives them, at least Junior, nightmares. And Junior, in particular, has very bad dreams of Fraggles crawling all over him when it's the full moon. So he's having one of these dreams. He goes out into the garden to calm down, and he goes to the well to get some water, but he drops his bucket down, and when he tries to go in to grab it, he ends up falling into the well and getting stuck. So the Fraggles freak out because there's a big Gorg head poking out of their ceiling now. But also, because he's blocking the entrance to the well, the moon is gone. They assume that it's gone because Junior stole it. So Gobo goes up, he takes the bucket with him, and he tries to steal the moon back. He looks everywhere up in the Gorg Garden, but he can't find it, thinks the moon's probably dead. He despairs until he notices that the moon is reflected in his bucket, so he thinks that he caught the moon. He goes back down to Fraggle Rock, shows them the bucket, but the moon's not in there because it's not reflecting anymore. So the Fraggles think the moon's escaped again. They're kind of looking around for it. Meanwhile, Pa comes out, pulls Junior out of the well. The moon is again visible in the pool, and the Fraggles decide that the moon likes to be in the pool, and they decide it's not their place to capture it and keep it from being where it wants. The moral, do not be so naive as to think that you can command the very forces of nature. Maybe? Up in outer space, the moon is also keeping Sprocket awake, and Doc feels bad for him and is trying to help him get to sleep, which he eventually does. Elsewhere, in April 1983, Archie Bunker's Place, which was like the sequel series to All in the Family, ends its run, which also ends the Archie Bunker branch of the All in the Family verse, which began in 1971. The Jeffersons is still on, though, so it still lives for a while.
A few other things were happening in April of 1983 in the Muppet world. From April 8th through April 10th of 1983, Jim wrote in his journal, Music Ed meeting, New York City. Apparently, there's very little information that I could find about this in the research here. He was enthusiastic about pursuing a suggestion from his colleague Jocelyn Stevenson, writer on Fraggle Rock, about making a TV show focused on music education.
Oh.
And as far as I know, that didn't go anywhere. But
It's not the Ghost of Fafner Hall?
I mean, maybe? I don't know enough about that show to know if it is. And then on April 22nd, 1983, Jim appeared on The Don Lane Show to promote The Dark Crystal. Don Lane, you might remember, was the show where he interviewed Jim, Frank, Piggy, and Kermit via satellite. He is the one who asked, which one's Jim and which one's Frank? Because I think he is the American who was really famous in Australia for a long time, was
Right.
the Don Lane story.
Right.
Couldn't find this clip, but I have to imagine, he said, "Hi, Frank," when they sat down to talk about this. Then on April 23rd, 1983, it seems like maybe Jim made a very quick trip back from Australia to the U.S., maybe, because he attended the wedding of puppet builder Raleigh Cruson and her husband, Art Almeida. Raleigh Cruson, again, still building puppets for the Henson Company, Sesame Street. I'm not exactly sure if she's employed directly by one of them, but I know that she has built every new Elmo puppet since 1987.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
she like insists on being like, hey, you need an Elmo? I'm going to build it. And so she's built like every Elmo puppet for everything from international performances to, Sesame Street to this day. But she started off in 1973 as the very first workshop intern for the Henson Company. And apparently the first puppet she built was a Koozie pup, one of the Koozbane's babies.
Oh, that's cute.
And she wrote a really nice thing that they highlighted on Jim's Red Book where she was talking about how Jim Henson was like kind of a father to her when she started out there. And so she wrote, when I got married in 1983, I was so lucky to have my two dads at my wedding, my own father and Jim, my New York dad. But yeah, that's about it for the Muppets in April of 1983. So getting into this batch, Sam, this is the, first batch post the first 12 episodes. Those first 12 episodes were recorded between March and August of 1982. And then the next 12 for season 1 were recorded 6 months later between February and May of 1983. So they took some time off, they started airing the show, and then they started making this like second half of the season. I'm a little worried.
So it's based on the notes that one guy helped them kind of like redirect the show, and I don't remember his name.
Larry Merkin is the
Right.
guy who came in, who we talked about a couple episodes ago, who came in and met with Jerry Jewell and was like, hey, here's what's wrong with your show. I'm going to come in and help you out and be your producer. And I got to say, right off the bat, I am not super stoked about what he has brought to our little show here.
I had a tough time with this batch. There was one episode that I liked a lot, and then 3 that I just was kind of like, what's going on here? It feels young, like a show for younger people now, in my opinion.
Well, and it feels less like it's lining up with the mission statement of the show. Like, I feel like throughout all 4 of these episodes, the moral, the lesson, the reason the episode exists, it doesn't seem like it's there. I feel like in those first 12, it was pretty clear what they were trying to teach you, even if it wasn't right there on the tin. But I felt like with this, it just, like, I think my read on these 4 was, there was 1 I really disliked, and then 3 that I was like, those are okay.
Okay.
And so I think I just was left wondering what the point was of these episodes.
Yeah, I think I Don't Care has a pretty clear message of like Red's being extremely disrespectful and needs to learn how to not be disrespectful. The other 3, it took me some thinking to be like, okay, I guess I understand what they're trying to do.
I think my only problem with that is that I think you're right that is supposed to be the message of I Don't Care. I think the problem is the way that episode ends is that it kind of becomes, the lesson kind of becomes don't get angry. And it becomes that like almost as if Boober was the one at fault.
Yeah.
Even
with
though
all of them, it feels like there's like one little thing they could have done. Like Red could have been the one who pushed Wembly into the tower because she's messing around too much.
Right.
Like,
there's just a lot of
don't
like
mess around too much.
people not having to take responsibility for the bad things they have done to somebody else, or not even like really acknowledging it besides being like, oh, we didn't mean to do that. But then it's like, yeah, but you also shouldn't have been so angry, Boober. And it's like, whoa, that's just not what that's about, though. This whole episode, the reason he is angry is because of the terrible way you guys were treating him.
Everyone's being really shitty to him.
Yeah, and I feel like that kind of happened in the Wembly one a little bit, too, with the We Love You, Wembly. And it just feels like that is something that was present in the first 12 episodes, was at the end of the episode, somebody taking the blame and saying, oh, wow, I'm really sorry I did that. That I was totally in the wrong. You saying to
like
the kids
Moki
watching.
Moki has no idea that she made Wembly go nuts, basically. Like maybe a little bit, but there's never really a moment when she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You do need to do this your own way. Wembly's just kind of like, I can't handle this anymore. And then goes and does it his own way. They don't have like their come to Jesus moment,
Right.
They need to.
In all of these, I feel like we have the two really blatant examples are the Wembly at the end of the We Love You Wembly episode and Boober at the end of I Don't Care. And then, as we alluded to, in the end of the challenge, there's not really any resolution about the main conflict. And then in
and
Capture
that's
the
a really
Moon,
easy one where they both could have come up with half a plan to help them out of the situation instead of two plans that didn't work at all.
and I think they try to say that they did,
Yeah.
but it's unclear. And in Capture the Moon, there isn't really any direct conflict to
I don't
resolve.
know what they're doing in Capture the Moon.
That's the one that I very strongly disliked.
I thought Capture the Moon had a very nice song. I loved the special moon greeting song. And I think I give it a little bit more of a pass because it's like introducing a new thing that they do, like a new part of the Fraggle community, which I like. Same with I Don't Care, where they go to court, which I thought was a pretty good scene.
Yeah, it's hard to know what is going to stick around as far as lore goes, because I feel like we've seen enough examples so far of they introduce a thing that like Fraggles always do this thing, and then we never hear about it again. That's why I was actually surprised we hear about a moss pack twice in this batch.
Of all the things that they could bring back.
Yeah, because in the very first episode we watched, the We Love You Wembly, Wembly gets a moss pack from Lou Fraggle, who it's basically just a clump of moss and dirt, it seems like, to put on your head.
Stick coming out of it. It looks like an ice cream cone, which becomes important for stupid reasons later.
Yes, there's an Uncle Traveling Matt segment in that where he is like, oh, these silly creatures have their own moss packs, when he goes to an ice cream shop and puts an ice cream cone on his head. And that's literally all that happens in that one.
I'm about 4,000% sure the Fraggles will reference ice cream numerous times throughout the show, too.
I mean, there's also, there's a lot of things that I think change, and as far as like, I think we always dig deeper into the lore, but there are some canonical things that just get glossed over, and they're like, that's all right.
Yeah. The one I couldn't even stand was the challenge. That one, because it was too much freaking Gorgs.
I was wondering about that. There's some Junior Gorg stuff in there that I thought you would definitely not love.
He just grates on me. And it's not even like, I feel like with Thog, I'm playing it up a little bit. With Junior Gorg, he legitimately kind of makes my blood boil. And I wish he didn't, because I love Richard Hunt. It's just too much baby Huey for me. I just feel like he's going to poop his diaper. And I don't like to feel that way.
Yeah, he even gets a song in that episode that feels like it was inserted just to highlight Richard Hunt's ability to sing. Because it just felt weird immediately that Junior Gorg was getting a song at all.
He's gotten a song before, a very similar song, actually.
Did he?
Yeah, I can't remember. It was like the same kind of gimmick where he would like end the last line by going like dum dee dum dee dum.
Oh.
He like did the same thing twice, but I can't remember what episode that was that he did it in before.
Wow. I'm already forgetting things. Oh yeah, looks like on Muppet Wiki he performed that in the I Wanna Be You episode where Red tries to be more like Moki. So
The same exact song?
No, it's like you said. It's like a
Right.
variation on the song. It's a march-like song about catching Fraggles, sung by Junior
Right.
Gorg.
Right.
Whereas this one is all about him wanting a sharp pumpkin knife from a genie. So taking a turn.
This one is also all about how much his parents hate him, and they think he's really stupid.
Yeah, I wrote down the lyric here. You try and eat your breakfast, try and chew your gum, but then your stupid mommy tells you that you're dumb.
I just don't like it when he calls her mommy. I hate that.
There's another, like, again, not intentional, but like another, what felt like a flirty, uncomfortable moment between Ma and Pa Gorg. Again this time in that episode. Right before that is when we're learning that Ma Gorg had been telling a Gorgic myth to Junior. And after Pa Gorg expresses his displeasure at this, he like turns to Ma Gorg and he's like, "Come, my queen, the duties of the monarchy await." And they just like go back into the castle, and I'm like, the way he said that sounded like it was just like a secret sex code. Like, we can't say in front of Junior that we're gonna go make love, so I have to say the duties of the monarchy await.
Well, they don't got much else to do up there, you know?
Yeah, they don't actually have any subjects, it seems. So,
No.
And the only subjects they know about are the Fraggles, who they hate. But yeah, the that We Love You Wembly episode, it was written by Jocelyn Stevenson and directed by Jim Henson. This was one that I enjoyed more than the other ones.
I think this one really abruptly fell apart at the end, but I really liked the beginning, and I especially loved Wembly's song. Well, we'll get to it. I won't skip too far, but when Wembly sings about being a wimp and how nobody could ever love a wimp, that was such a good song.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best songs, honestly, so far.
But yeah, I like that one too. I gave it 2 stars,
Ooh.
which isn't great, but
No, but I think it is, like, for this batch, I feel like that's probably a generous rating, because I do feel like it is the best of a bad batch, and I don't know, if there's going to be a rough time here in Fraggle Rock to end up season 1, and maybe season 2 will come out the gates a little stronger, but so far, Larry Merkin's influence isn't charming me.
I looked at a bunch of lists of best episodes of Fraggle Rock just to be sure we hadn't watched all of them already, or that some of these weren't like considered the best episodes, and I'd be like, oh shit, they're not though. We're okay. I think we're okay.
That is a fair thing to look up, because I think there are some episodes when you look up lists of like best episodes of the Muppet Show that like people put like the Spike Milligan episode on that list, and I'm like, that's literally the worst episode of television I've like ever watched. So
yeah. I just wanted to see how out of touch we were with the Fraggle community. Seems like we're doing okay. But I do have... it's not time yet. We'll get to it. My hot take.
I mean, there is no time.
Okay,
Sam.
we got to talk about this Gobo puppet. The new Gobo puppet.
Okay. Yeah, so for those that don't know, which I can't imagine anyone listening to a Fraggle Rock episode of a Muppet podcast doesn't realize, Gobo's look changes at a certain point. In the beginning, the first 12 episodes, he has like a maroon cardigan sweater over his famous yellow and red striped shirt. Now, coming into these episodes, Gobo has his more traditional look, which is the like khaki cargo vest over his yellow and red striped shirt. And in the first couple episodes, he also has a hat that accompanies him that's sort of like Matterhorn mountain climber hat with a feather in it kind of thing.
It's a toque with a big feather sticking out of it.
Yeah. So, but you have issues with this.
My issue is with his head. His new head. Too small, number 1.
I agree.
His head's so small.
It looks like Jerry
Number
Nelson
2.
could probably barely fit his hand in there.
That I'm worried about. I bet that guy has big hands. Maybe not.
I don't know.
But anyway, the other thing is, so there was a bit of controversy about the Fraggle Rock action figures recently.
Yes, there was.
Wherein people were pissed because there's a new Gobo action figure and his pupils, according to the fans, were too big.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the actual problem is that the Gobo puppet's pupils are too small, and that the action figure is correcting a sin committed by the show Fraggle Rock.
Yeah,
because he looks bad. I think he looks bad.
I do think he looks a little rough, and I don't know how quickly that might be addressed, because I do feel like I've seen clips from Fraggle Rock where I don't have any issues with the Fraggle Rock puppets. But I also feel like I've seen some later season clips where performances feel a little different to me across the board. And so I also think it's a thing that will change gradually with time that like we may not even notice as it's happening. But I think, the figures you're referencing are the ones from Boss Fight Studio. They put out a line that included Gobo, Uncle Traveling Matt, Red, and then a couple doozers. And that was the internet. It was a slow news week, I think, because Muppet fans were like, well, what are we going to be angry about this week? I guess. Yeah. Fraggle Rock pupils. That seems like a fair thing to be very angry about.
Very nice looking action figure otherwise.
Yeah, these are like the best Fraggle Rock action figures that have ever existed. They come with a bunch of really good accessories. But, pupil size is being like 5% too big. People are like, no!
Bad news.
A travesty has been committed here. It's just, I think, the internet, sometimes you just got to find reasons to be angry. And that was the one that won out that week.
But yeah, I feel like he's lost something. Just like maybe this batch of episodes has lost something. There's just been some magic is gone, at least right now.
I think he also didn't get featured quite as much as he did in the first 12. Like, obviously, we have the whole episode about him being the leader and whether or not that's the right call. But I feel like I don't have a lot of Gobo memories from this batch of episodes because I feel like they, rightly so, focus on some other characters.
Well, the Catch the Moon one is all about him, but that episode is so confusing that it's just kind of like the.
It feels like, I mean, at the end of that episode, Wembly comments, it almost feels like this was all a dream.
That was so weird.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
could it be? Because you all are much less intelligent than you are in like every other
They
episode.
were so stupid. They didn't know anything.
Yeah, I would have like actually not minded had it's like suddenly gone back and Gobo was like waking up from a nap and it's like, oh, thank goodness that was just a
I
dream.
just dreamt we were all stupid.
Because he wakes up from a dream at the beginning of the episode, so it could have been like a dream within a dream, Fraggle Rock Inception kind of scenario. So yeah, going back to the We Love You Wembly episode, my first thought after watching this episode was, I wonder, we like to say that everyone's inspired by the Muppets here, but I'm wondering if the author of the book, Perfume, The Story of a Murderer, was inspired by this episode.
I saw your tweet about that. I have no idea what Perfume, A Story of a Murderer is.
So, haven't read the book, to be fair. But I saw the movie.
What a reveal. Oh, okay. There's a movie.
That came out in 2006 with Alan Rickman and Dustin Hoffman
Okay.
that weirdly feels very similar in ways that I was like, oh, this must be a super old story that like Fraggle Rock is referencing. But the novel that movie is based on came out in 1985, 2 years after this episode aired. In that movie, again, I won't reference the book because I've only seen the movie. In the movie, there's like this perfumer, I don't know what they are called. The people who make...
Perfumier.
Sure. He's making perfume, and he basically makes a love potion level kind of perfume that like makes people instantly smell it and go, oh my God, I love you. He uses this to escape being imprisoned, which in this episode, Wembly does by having Junior Gorg smell the thing. Then at the end, I believe they catch him again. He's going to like have a public execution in the town square. There's like 1,000 people there. He, in some way, like unleashes his perfume on everyone around him, and then they all fall in love. Now, in the movie, this results in like a 1,000-person orgy. But
I mean, that's what your mind naturally jumps to.
well, and we get the Fraggle version of that in We Love You, Wembly, where suddenly every Fraggle loves Wembly, even his best friends, because near the end of the episode, when he falls into the well and the love potion scatters amongst all the Fraggles, I mean, we see, Red calls him darling, Moki calls him beloved, Gobo calls him sweetheart, and Boober yells, sugar lips! And then starts kissing him all over.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not saying that author ripped off Fraggle Rock, but maybe.
There must be some other thing that it's like, surely this is a story that's been told before. Because it is like the song Love Potion No. 9, which they reference in this episode.
Kinda, almost. It's
But
like they were trying to like
only
tread
kinda.
the waters there of like, well, we can't say that because we don't have the rights to that song. So we'll make up our own version of that.
Yeah, I hated that part.
Yeah.
I feel like the trash heap has been declawed to some extent.
Yeah, she's just kind of like can't be bothered to dish out helpful things now. Like before she was at least trying and failing, and now she doesn't feel like she's trying.
No, she's just doing crossword puzzles and loafing.
You said in your recap that when Wembly meets Lou, he instantly falls in love. And I don't know if I agree with that.
He doesn't know. Oh, look, man, I had to take some creative license because I didn't want it to rewrite the whole episode. He feels something for her. I suppose you're right. The whole point of the episode is that other people are pressuring him into thinking he's in love with her.
Yeah, specifically Moki
Okay.
is the
Yes.
really the one pushing this.
Yes. But he is just feeling feelings and is trying to understand them in his own way.
Yeah, Muppet Wiki points out the interesting thing here is that Fraggles are able to meet other Fraggles that they have not previously seen or met around town.
That doesn't seem likely.
Especially because Lou Fraggle, who Wembly meets, is apparently also on Gobo's rock rolling squad, whatever that might entail. I don't know if we'll ever learn about the rock rolling squad and what they actually do besides just roll rocks.
I guess roll rocks around. That's all you need to do.
But there's some good, at least one puppetry moment I wanted to highlight in this episode where near the beginning when Wembly is bringing his big old rock that he picked out from Moki to her, he runs into Boober's clothesline. And when he does, he just goes flying across the set. And the cut, the way it is, seems like the only way they could have done this is they just like threw the puppet. Like there's like somebody just took it and went, "Ugh," and then they had to like cut right after the hands went out of frame.
Yeah, the whole beginning part where he's helping everybody is really great. Because there's like other parts where he's like putting down and lifting the rock up that also look very convincing.
Oh, speaking of like makeovers and stuff, not only does Gobo get a makeover in this batch, but Ma Gorg also has a makeover, which I think makes her look far less scary.
She looks much better.
I think, honestly, like, they didn't do a ton to her. They gave her, like, a new hairstyle, and the most important thing is they gave her eyelids, which previously she just had wide-open, staring eyes and looked kind of dead all the time.
That I was going to say now she looks like she's alive, but I think it's more accurate to say that she used to look like she was dead.
Right, and now she has like eyelids with eyelashes that move a little bit, so I think she has a bit more life in her.
She kind of looks more like the other Gorgs, too. She almost looked like a different species.
She kind of looked like a very early Henson puppet.
Yeah, right.
Like that would pop up on something like,
on the Tonight Show.
Right, it would have like consumed Kermit or,
I was very surprised at the end of this one that Lou and Wembly ended up together. Because I don't imagine we see her again.
From what I've read, it seems like Lou kind of just becomes a background Fraggle after this, which, I don't have any strong feelings about, but I do feel like Lou Fraggle has a design that I don't love. She doesn't immediately look like a Fraggle to me.
She's like the whatnot version of a Fraggle.
Right, and I think sometimes those kinds of designs are hidden in the background of the big group shots where they're just all singing. But to have one sort of front and center with an actual character attached to them, it just felt weird that she looks so different than our normal like Fraggle 5.
Especially after who's the little weasel Fraggle in the last batch?
Marlin Fraggle?
Yeah,
he was
especially
the
after
creepy
Marlin, who they put so much work into. Lou does feel like low effort.
Well, in Marlin Fraggle, like, he's got the creepy vibes to him, so it makes sense that like he looks a little different. But with Lou, I just felt like, like she looked like a whatnot, a thrown together kind of Fraggle that just was, I don't know what it is that makes a Fraggle look like a Fraggle, because obviously amongst the main Fraggle 5, there are big differences in the way they look, especially like, Boober has no eyes. So it's not just the eyes that make a Fraggle. But something about Lou just felt a little bit more generic. And especially when she's side by side with our other Fraggles, it kind of just jumped out at me. But before we meet Lou, Wembly has a song where he is singing about how no one ever offers to help him with anything. And I do love this trend, and it happens more throughout this batch, that just every song the Fraggles sing almost is about how much their life sucks and why it sucks. And I noticed in this batch, too, it feels like we've had this highlighted before where some of the Fraggles will say, like, well, you know what we got to do? We got to sing. And that makes me realize that, like, the Fraggle musical numbers are not like musicals in movies where people kind of like the song ends and they don't realize they were just singing, or it was like they just had a conversation, not through song. This feels like every song that's performed in Fraggle Rock, everyone else is aware that a song is happening, and that's just how they communicate in this world.
It's part of their magic. There was even, like in this one, was there a guy playing saxophone behind him?
I believe there was.
Yeah. So everybody's in on it. They all magically are like, they're like psychically connected when it comes to syncing up their songs.
I think a Fraggle hive mind makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, to some degree. They do fight a lot and misunderstand each other a lot. I think the hive mind only applies to singing.
Just the musical hive mind.
Yeah.
Cheryl Wagner is the performer behind Lou Fraggle, who I think doing a great job. Again, the character I like, the performance I like. It's just the design of Lou that I don't love. She'll take over as the voice of Ma Gorg beginning in season 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess it just surprised me that they ended the episode like skipping through the caves holding hands, because like it seems like in another sitcom, Lou would be like, "Oh, okay, like I don't like you" or something, and it would just like go to the status quo. But it feels a little weird that does he have a girlfriend now? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever necessarily see that relationship
it's
again.
Sad to think that things didn't work out between the two of them, I guess, more than anything.
I mean, it feels like Lou has her shit together, and Wembly clearly does not.
Yeah.
And so maybe she just, after a couple dates, is like, yeah, you know what? Call me when you grow up a little bit, Wembly.
Yeah, Lou's like a 40-year-old divorcee who's like dating like a 22-year-old, just trying it out.
I was trying to get the vibe of what her job was because she has like this smock with like some pencils or something in it. So
Yeah.
it almost looked like she was like, I don't know, like a construction worker or something like that, a carpenter. They don't reference it at all. But she just had some sort of like working gear on.
The most professional looking Fraggle that we've ever seen. Like the only one down there with an actual job.
Another thing that Muppet Wiki pointed out about this episode is because we see Boober at a certain point when his clothesline gets broken. He asks Wembly for help and turns Wembly into I was going to say human clothesline, Fraggle clothesline.
A living one.
Yeah.
Sure.
Muppet Wiki points out that Boober is constantly washing socks, but every time we see a full body Fraggle, they're always barefoot. So
Yeah,
whose
what's
socks
his deal?
is he washing?
Maybe he's like the guy who takes all the socks out of the dryer, you know?
Oh,
But he wouldn't have to wash them because they'd be clean.
he's stealing
Unless-
Doc's socks.
Yeah. Except that he has some frilly socks too. He does.
Don't
it just,
judge
yeah,
Doc's
it seems
socks
like
choices.
More of a... Okay, I'm sorry.
Although,
You're
to be
right.
fair, the one time we have seen Doc's feet a couple episodes ago, they were unsheathed. He was barefoot.
Oh, we saw bare Doc feet.
Yeah, it felt wrong. It felt
I
like
missed that.
illegal a little bit because it was in the one where he's wearing his Geppetto nightgown. And he walks in.
Right.
There's a close up of him standing next to Sprocket at one point. And we see like his
Oh,
bare
yeah.
ankles and feet. And I was just like, I don't have a problem with like, feet in
old
general.
feet.
But like seeing
Yeah.
Doc's feet felt wrong.
Yeah.
It's like
He's an old man.
very weird specific reference. In White Christmas, the Bing Crosby movie, there is a moment when Danny Kaye and Bing Crosby have a scene where they're back in their dressing room after putting on a show.
And they're both bare ass and naked.
Pretty much. Yeah. So Bing Crosby is changing his pants and he's behind like a thing. He's behind a box. So you don't really see him taking off his pants. But there's like a few seconds in there where you do glimpse a little bit of tighty whitey Bing Crosby like lifting up his leg to put on pants. And you just see like all the way up Bing Crosby's thigh to his tighty whities. And I'm like, that's too much Bing Crosby.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to see.
You're supposed to have a tweed suit on at all times,
Yeah.
my friend.
I don't need to see that much Bing Crosby, and I don't need to see that much of Jerry Parks.
I'll go back and look at them and see what I think.
There is a reference in here that I feel like we've heard dozens of times through Muppets. When Wembly tells Moki and Gobo, hey, I made a new friend. I met a new Fraggle. Gobo immediately assumes the dude, but when Moki learns it's a girl, she gets very excited and immediately is like, Wembly met a girl, he's in love.
And then Gobo also seems to hate and despise love.
Entirely, yeah. He's not into the romance idea. He just like scolds Wembly for being into romance at all.
Yeah.
Which makes him feel younger than I picture them.
Yes, that I also have been thinking of them as young adults up until this, when they do feel like middle schoolers, maybe even.
Yeah, this is like, girls, gross.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just Gobo is asexual and hasn't announced that yet.
I had a different take on it.
Oh.
That Gobo loves them and leaves them.
Oh, I see. It's not
He's
that
got
he
a pretty high body count.
Gotcha. Yeah, I gotcha. He's
He hates love, but he doesn't hate sex.
he's got a lot of check marks on his cave wall.
Yeah, because he's a traveler, He's rambling all around the caves.
He left his
meeting all kinds of exotic, interesting Fraggles out there.
That's what happened to his cardigan. He left it at somebody else's cave and was like, well, can't go back for that.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what happened.
Lothario Gobo.
Yeah. That's a great explanation for it. His hat, too. He left his hat somewhere.
Okay, they suddenly aged up immediately with that explanation, which I am not opposed to.
But yeah, I mean, it makes sense for Moki to love. I kind of get the sense she's in love with Boober. Maybe a bit.
Interesting.
I don't know why I feel that way.
I wonder,
She's so doting to him.
I wonder if we'll explore any Fraggle romance, like within the Fraggle 5.
We got to ship these Fraggles.
I mean, I don't want to ship them necessarily. I'm happy if they like sort of ship themselves. But because I feel like there was like a almost it was there with Red and Gobo.
Yeah, Red and Gobo have a tension for sure.
Yeah, which I'm fine keeping that at friendship level forever. But I could also see if they alluded to it being a bit more at some point.
Yeah. And Back to the Rock, they're married. They have children.
Back to the Rock is not like a sequel series. It's like a reboot.
It's not? I didn't know that.
Yeah, everything is new and like it's in the same world, but like not a continuation of the story. It's like a whole new story. I mean, it's like every time, we see the Muppets, they're doing something new, and it's like we're just accepting like this is the new canon. I mean, the fact that there's a new Doc and Sprocket, like we have to accept that immediately.
I assumed she was like the granddaughter of a dead Doc, and that Sprocket was immortal. That's not the case.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
From my memory of the show, that was not the case.
I thought I would maybe start with like, oh, my grandpa's dead, but his dog's still alive. Oh well, I won't question it because that's just how that's how Muppets go. They outlive all of their relationships with humans.
It's true. Now I'm just sad about Jim Henson passing on and all these other Muppeteers
and the Sesame Street cast and stuff.
Carol Spinney.
Big Bird really has it worse than anybody else because he's stuck there and he is watching all of his friends pass away.
Oh man,
tough for him.
Well, to continue this downer note, Wembly then sings a song in this episode called "Just a Little Wimp." Where it's just a short little song, but I love it. I love the music. I love the melody, the lyrics. I love the line, if you don't like his mug, you can use him for a rug.
If his collar's green, you can plant him like a bean. And Rachel said, I could plant you like a bean. Just pound right on the top of your head and you pop into the ground and you'd be a bean. Okay, you're right. I really related to Wembly in this one because I often feel like I have to do everything for everybody and nobody ever helps me with anything. And that I'm a little wimp who could be planted like a bean. So when he sang the song, I was like, sing it, brother. I know where you're coming from, my man.
Up in the outer space world, Doc has been working on a chandelier alarm that is both a smoke detector and a burglar alarm. And this is the moment where he gets a phone call from Ned Schimmelfinney, his best friend and villain, where he hangs up the phone after saying, like, thanks, Ned, I appreciate the tip. And then he says, again, one of those most beautiful phrases I've ever heard. Schimmelfinney called to say the hot dog man is down the street. What do you want? The usual?
Yeah. That really cracked me up. Doc's living like his best life, pretty much.
Well, and I just pictured him like, out in the suburbs, like really far away from a major city hub. Uh-huh. And so then I was picturing like a hot dog cart going through the suburbs. Like,
yeah.
It's just... The way the world of Doc sort of unravels as we go through things, I'm just more and more confused about this man.
I've always pictured him, probably because I was watching so much Gilmore Girls when we started watching this, living in somewhere like Stars Hollow.
Yeah.
But also a little bit more like on the beach.
Oh.
So there's like a boardwalk, and so there's maybe some like touristy stuff like food trucks and stuff going around.
Okay.
So to me it makes sense. And that also might be because in the UK he's a lighthouse guy. So I just picture him like on the sea.
Yeah.
For some reason.
All right.
But like somewhere on the East Coast where there probably are a lot of hot dog guys and it just
That's
seems
where they live.
like
They congregate on the East Coast.
It just seems like the town is small, but really like within like a mile radius there's like 3 million people who live there. They just live like in the house. It's like a huge suburb,
All right.
You ever been to the East Coast, Matt?
Yeah. Been to Boston and South Carolina.
Okay. Well, okay.
That's my East Coast experience.
Like other parts of Massachusetts are like, they seem rural, but really, if you like zoomed out, you'd be like, oh, this is just one continuous city for like the entire eastern seaboard.
That's true. Yeah.
There's just a lot of trees.
Yeah, I've been to Salem, Massachusetts as well, and that was it's very close to Boston, but it does feel very... not rural necessarily, but it feels a little bit more small towny than Boston.
Yeah.
Okay. I could see him living somewhere like that. But still,
yeah,
I don't feel like hot dog men exists outside of like city centers.
People out there love hot dogs, Matt.
I mean, you're not wrong, but I just don't feel like there's enough demand for a hot dog man to be cruising around like an ice cream truck.
Just say, you're not wrong, accept it and move on. We had a hot dog man in Missoula forever.
What?
Yeah.
Where was he?
He used to set up by the Top Hat.
You mean the city center?
Oh, shut the fuck up. As I was saying it, I realized.
He's not cruising by your house or my house.
Okay. As you said it.
Imagine a hot dog guy out where I live.
I played right.
I'm not going to dox myself, but like I don't live in the city center of Missoula. And if there was a hot dog man, if I got a call, somebody was
You
like,
live in one of the funniest places for there to be a hot dog.
right, and I think I picture Doc in the area like where I live, and so I feel like if somebody called me and was like, "Hey, the hot dog man's down the street," I think I'd be more threatened than excited.
Oh, is that yeah? Is he coming after
It'd be like a
me?
neighborhood watch thing of like, guys, again, the hot dog man's back.
Point taken, Matt. You actually were right the whole time.
That's all I wanted.
Now I think the episode falls apart though when he goes to get the bluff potion.
Yeah, because we have
Is
we have the brief, weird Uncle Traveling Matt ice cream postcard, which is really
sucked.
not great.
I'm sick of that guy.
And then we go to the trash heap, and then Wembly goes to the trash heap to get some advice on what to do about this. And immediately, Philo and Gunge undo something I previously said about them. Previously, I said that they weren't mean like Statler and Waldorf because they're not saying like, "Hey, Gobo, nice face." But in this, they immediately make fun of Wembly's nose. So they did pretty much say, "Hey, Wembly,
They said,
nice
"Hey,
face."
Wembly, nice face. Yeah.
So they're a little meaner now, it seems.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is when Marjorie sings her Lover number 9.
Annoying.
This was one of the parts that highlighted to me that this was all like, the songs are in the universe because she starts it off with, "Listen to this." And like, I'm going to sing a song now. But we learned that the potion only lasts 20 minutes. Wembly takes the potion and
Also not. Okay,
go ahead.
Not 20 minutes from when they smell it.
apparently from when it was
20
created.
minutes from when it's opened or whatever.
Yeah, which is very confusing.
Yeah.
Because it's also the timing of that. Like they give Wembly the potion, and then they say it only lasts 20 minutes. And then Philo and Gunge say like, "Yeah, they'll realize that in about 30 minutes." And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so does it take 10 minutes to wear off?
Or he's not going to open it for 10 more minutes. I think that's what he meant.
Maybe. Very confusing, the timeline on this. And then they start to go back through the Gorg Garden to get to Fraggle Rock. And this is when they are once again, as it seems to be a lot in this batch, they are trapped by a Gorg.
They're getting sloppy up there.
They're always, I think, at least twice in this batch, too. They only get caught because they start yelling.
Yeah.
Like, while they're walking across the only area of the garden where the Gorgs can see them, they just start yelling at each other. But this Gorg section made me curious how they film the blue screen Gorgs noticing the Fraggle segments, because it happens pretty often. And I've noticed the timing is always really well done. And like the eye lines are always pretty good. Like there's never like a moment in there where I feel like, oh, they filmed this a month ago and now they're filming this part. Like it always feels really well aligned. And obviously that could just be practice, multiple takes, figuring it out. But I was also wondering if there's any chance that they're doing this like a weatherman. Like
yeah, that's us.
in the
that's
moment,
what- yeah.
like they have the set off to the side of the Gorg Garden where Junior Gorg is, they're filming him. And then off to the other side, they have the people with the Fraggle puppets in front of a blue screen.
And they can see what's on the screen behind them.
Yeah. And I don't, again,
Right.
no idea if that's true. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll see that eventually. I know we have some Fraggle Rock behind the scenes stuff to watch eventually. But just the,
Seems like the easiest way to do it.
well, yeah, and like the timing and spacing of the movements is always so well aligned that it makes me feel like
Yeah.
they're doing it that way. Because there's times where they're just hanging out in the garden for like 2 minutes, and then Junior Gorg walks in, sees them, and jumps towards them. And the
Yeah,
fact that
that's
like
true.
that is so drawn out feels so hard to time out if it was just everything pre-filmed.
Yeah, I bet they do. I bet you're right, Matt.
I don't know. If anybody knows, write in. Let us know. But yeah, this is when Junior Gorg captures Wembly, and he uses the love potion to free himself, which is when he falls right into the Fraggle Pond and makes everyone fall in love with him.
I just didn't understand, I guess, what this part felt just like padding the episode out. Like they couldn't think of anything else to do.
But I also felt like this was the most interesting part of the episode. I agree that it's not the best part of the story, but I feel like as far as like, okay, what's happening here? It was at least more interesting than like other parts of the episode.
I kind of feel the opposite. I really liked it when everybody was stepping all over Wembly and like making him do stuff for them, and the concept of like a character telling him not to let that happen. But then we don't explore that at all because she basically disappears until the end of the episode.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest bummer about this one is that Lou is just not around.
Yeah.
And she comes back at the very end like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, well,
I love you.
yeah, I love you. People are trying to tell me how I feel about you, all this stuff. And she's just like, whoa, what's going on? How do you feel about me? And he's like, I kind of like you. I want to hang out with you. She's like, all right, chill, whatever.
Yeah, he's had a big day. But yeah, it just kind of felt like a lost opportunity to tell a little bit more of an intimate story, which I feel like a lot of these episodes kind of are the same way, where they like halfway through, they're like, and then something wacky happens, but it doesn't have to. Like, it could have just been Wembly like learning about a different way to live life or something.
Yeah. And then I think if Lou would have been around more, that probably would have helped that. But at the end, they're just, they go off and sing Learn to Love a Wimp together, which is really just Lou saying, like, yeah, you are a wimp,
yeah,
but you're lovable.
Yeah.
Then in the episode The Challenge, which was written by Jerry Jewell and directed by George Bloomfield, there's no Moki in this episode, which is worth noting. They do a pretty good job of, I think, covering that by having this be pretty focused on the Fraggles being trapped. But at the very beginning, when they're getting ready to go on a picnic, Wembly says, Moki made the sandwiches and I'm packing them. And so we get a reference of Moki being around, but we just don't see her at all in this episode.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't see all my friends every day.
Now, it's like also we have the last episode of this, the Capture the Moon. Boober's not in that episode at all.
That was actually a little weirder, I thought.
Well, because they don't reference him off doing something else. Like and they don't, like they're in Fraggle Rock a lot.
Yeah, and it's the thing that they're all at. Like they're all at this moon ceremony,
Right.
but him.
But I think one of the more exciting parts of this episode is Doc getting his new computer.
This was the best Doc subplot so far, I think. I really
Yeah, he got
that.
a brand new Apple II computer, which at this point was about 5-6 years old, I think.
Well, he probably found it on the ground.
Yeah, that's true. But it's got 64 kilobytes of RAM, 6 peripheral slots on the motherboard, which actually is in line with the Apple II. So it's kind of like
64 kilobytes of RAM.
Yeah, it's kind of the highest end version of the Apple II had 64 kilobytes.
That's wild.
Yeah, and it did have 6 peripheral slots on the motherboard. So somebody did their research.
Doc knows his shit. Yeah.
Interestingly, I was looking at pausing the show, and he's got a Monitor 3, which is the next generation of monitor that would have been in line with the Apple III computer. But the Apple III was like, I don't know all the reasons why, but was like far less successful than the Apple II. And so he's got an Apple II computer, but a Monitor 3.
Is that allowed?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It works that way.
Okay.
But I think the Monitor 3 had like slightly better like resolution and stuff. So I think he's doing it right. I think he's got the right setup here.
Got a good gaming rig going.
Yeah. He's got, speaking of games, he has Sort and File, Inventory Wizard, Statistics, Boolean Algebra, and Zombie Attack. But apparently when this episode aired on The Hub, which is like the children's network we talked about previously, where John Tartaglia first performed as Gobo in the commercials on that, the computer game that Doc and Sprocket were playing had the word attack muted. So you just say like, zombie!
That's so stupid.
And they also blurred out, they blurred it out on the game box, like when he held it up. You wouldn't see the word.
The word attack?
I guess zombies are cool, attacks are not. Which when I say it, yeah, I understand that thought process, but I don't think saying like, hey, we're talking about a video game where people attack zombies from space or whatever the plot line there was.
In an episode where Junior Gorg dies.
Yeah, the kids can deal with the complicated thoughts of death, but the idea of attacking zombies,
Getting a horrible disease and dying is okay. I think also Boober says we're gonna die like many times in this episode.
I feel like that's every episode, though. I feel like Boober is always ready for death. But
he's closer to correct in this instance.
Yes, he does say the Grim Reaper comes for us all in this episode, which again, we're talking about what kids are hearing. I'm not opposed to kids hearing either that or zombie attack, but you're going to have more questions to answer when your kid asks you, hey, Mommy.
Mom, does the Grim Reaper come for us all?
It's like, yes, but where did you hear that?
Boober. Hoober? His name's Boob. They should mute Boob every time, too.
Yeah, you can't hear about boobs and the Grim Reaper.
His name's just on the hub.
Well, I just imagine, too, like kids walking into the room quoting lines from this episode, like Junior Gorgs of, being dead feels just like being alive. Or laying there on the ground pretending to be dead. That'd be fun for the parents.
Sing me a funeral dirge, Mom.
But yeah, at the beginning of this episode, Gobo is still being a jerk because he's like, yeah, I'm the leader. Just kind of happened.
He's being a huge jerk.
Yeah, because he's
He's
downright...
being so cold.
Well, because he even said, he's the one who says, I guess anyone could be the leader. It just kind of happened by accident. I'm the leader. Which we get very clear, like, clarification on this one. Like, Wembly even says, like, Gobo acts as our leader. That's just the way it is. But as soon as he says anyone can be a leader, and Red says, well, fine, I'll be the leader, he's like, whoa, hold on. No, I don't want that to happen.
Which I kind of liked because it does feel like they are acknowledging the fact that he is a jerk.
Yes, which again, if this episode had wrapped up a little bit nicer, I think I would have liked that storyline a bit more.
Yeah, totally.
But as Boober calls out, he calls this an attempted coup on the part of Red. And Gobo's argument that he should be the leader is because it's logical, because Uncle Traveling Matt taught him so many things. And so he's saying he's the smartest of all the Fraggles.
Yeah, because the dumbest Fraggle taught him a bunch of stuff.
And this is where we get a weird edit point in the episode. In the middle of a Gobo-Red fight about who should be the leader, Gobo says that Uncle Traveling Matt taught him to take decisive action, like the time when he met the mouth burners. And then there's a jump cut. And Red's like, oh, that fairy tale? Which seems a little odd when you watch it on Apple TV+.
Yeah, it seems like it's setting something up.
Yes, which it was if you were watching the original airing of this, or if you watched the clip that we had to watch on YouTube, which has been cut out of this episode, because the mouth burners are people who smoke cigarettes.
Hell yeah.
There's a lot of questions to answer for your kids, maybe in this episode, if they see the uncut episode. You got smoking, you've got death, you've got zombies. Good job, Jerry Jewell, setting up the children for success.
So yeah, he just finds a bunch of Canadian people hanging out on a patio.
No, this was filmed in San Francisco, Sam. So, yeah, these are terrible Americans.
Good American smokers. Yeah.
Speaking of those American smokers, are played by Cheryl Henson, and previously referenced in this episode, Art Almeida.
Oh.
Yeah, so Raleigh Cruzen's husband, not yet at the time, I guess, when they would have filmed this, and Cheryl Henson are the two playing the smokers in this scene.
I wonder if they were real smokers.
I mean, I feel like they must have been.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone probably was back then. But Uncle Traveling Matt does assume that smoking is unpleasant and dangerous. So, maybe the right side of history on that one. So this is when Boober decides to take everyone to the trash heap to resolve the conflict between Gobo and Red. But they obviously never make it because they, as Sam alluded to earlier, they get trapped in a basket by Pogorg as a gift for his son.
Which is nice.
Well, yeah, but until there's a certain point in this episode where Pogorg says, "Here comes my beautiful wife and my semi-beautiful son."
Well, he's just telling the truth.
You don't have to say the quiet part out loud all the time, Sam. Another Muppet Wiki note here. They pointed out that for some reason in this episode, Pogorg is wearing Mogorg's old crown.
Oh, I thought something looked weird about it.
Yeah, so I don't know if they lost it temporarily or something, but yeah, for some reason he's wearing that.
They were just trying something out, maybe.
Back in the real world, the outer space world, Doc and Sprocket are playing the game. Doc gets 4,300 points on Zombie Attack, which sounds a lot like Pac-Man.
It does sound like so much like Pac-Man that I think they're going to get sued.
Yeah.
You can't just use the Pac-Man
Yeah,
sound.
the death noise is definitely the Pac-Man death noise.
Yeah.
But Sprocket gets 107,000 points, much higher than Doc's 4,300, which he was, very proud of at first. But Doc gets hilariously mad at Sprocket, who is challenging him to beat his score. I love Jerry Parks so much.
Uh-huh. When he gets really mad and his, comb over kind of starts to flop around.
That's like when he's, a little sweaty and his hair flops forward.
Yeah.
It's like in Muppet Family Christmas when he realizes he's not going to have his quiet vacation that he was promised. Just angry Jerry Parks in a room alone with a dog puppet is top notch.
He kind of is, he's maybe a little actually mad at the dog puppet.
Yeah, he's so good at being believable with a puppet that you're like, okay, calm down, Jerry. It's just pretend.
Yeah, he and Willie from Alf, they're in the Hall of Fame of getting mad at puppets.
They be friends. They go out for a drink afterwards and talk about their puppet friends.
I just really kind of lost track of what they are even trying to do once they're in the basket. So Junior comes out, sits on the basket, because Pa forgot what was in the basket, and Junior just needs to sit down. And then I'm just kind of they pretend to be a genie, following it so far. But what's the end goal of pretending to be a genie? Number one. Number two, what is Gobo's plan even? I don't remember.
This is the same exact point in the episode where it fell apart for me because we get a weird. You have to follow a lot of threads that don't make any sense in order for the payoff to make any sense. Because we have the part earlier where Junior Gorg comes out and basically is saying that his mom told him the story of Aladdin, where you rub a lamp and a genie comes out and gives you wishes. So we get that exposition laid in there, so that way he's thinking about genies. Then Pa Gorg asks him to get some pumpkins and parsnips, and so he has to go get some pumpkins from the garden. Upon doing this, he realizes his pumpkin knife.
Oh, his pumpkin knife's fucked up.
And so then he's like, well, if I had a genie, I'd ask for a sharp pumpkin knife. And that's when he sings his dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum-de. And so we have to follow that, like, okay, so Ma Gorg mentioned a genie. Junior's thinking about genies and pumpkin knives. And so this is why when Red pretends to be the genie, he's already hardwired to be thinking about genies.
Right.
It's a stretch. And I think it's so much of a stretch that, like, you have to think about it too much that it kind of disrupts the flow of the episode.
But what's the end goal of pretending to be a genie?
I mean, I think it's to try and get him off the basket because he's sitting on the basket and, like, they can't get out from the basket if they have a giant Gorg on top of them.
Yeah. Okay.
I do like that this seems to be Red's thing, is she throws her voice to trick Junior Gorg.
Oh, yeah.
When she was the bush.
She's done that multiple times. That's true.
And that's the same episode where he sang the first Dum-de-Dum song.
What the heck? Okay.
Very strange. But when she first starts pretending to be the genie, he looks down and he's like, my bottom is talking to me.
I hated that.
I thought you might. Before that doesn't resolve itself, we learn that Doc has now gotten 700,400 points on Zombie Attack when he gets another phone call from his friend, Ned Schimmelfinney, who also has an Apple II computer, also has Zombie Attack, and got 800,700 points. And Jerry Parks / Doc gets so mad and just says, yes, of course I accept the challenge. So there's two very different challenges going on in this episode.
Doc's is way better.
Doc's is way better because the other one is the attempted coup on Gobo's leadership from Red, which is what we're about to learn, doesn't go anywhere because this is when Gobo takes a chance at being the genie, tries to convince Junior Gorg that he has gorgliosis, which is a deadly disease because also another thread you have to follow in this episode is Junior Gorg has been
Junior's
sneezing.
sick the whole
he
time.
has a cold.
I forgot about that.
There's so many things that, like, in a well-told story, this is how you do it. Like, you set up a lot of these things that as the dominoes fall later on, you're like, oh my God. Whereas this is just like, oh yeah, don't forget he has a cold. So now we're going to pretend he's dying.
And there's so many ways to tell the story of one of the other Fraggles disagreeing with Gobo's leadership that does not involve Junior Gorg talking for 10 entire straight minutes.
Well, and like, having the other Fraggles involved in that decision of, like, holding a vote to see who should be the leader, as opposed to just sort of deciding, like, well, you know what? Let's go ask the trash heap who should be leader, and not involving anybody else is very strange. Especially, like, not only is Moki off screen in this episode, but they clearly just, like, left Wembly out of the plan as well. So Wembly doesn't know any of this is happening.
Wembly doesn't. He doesn't. Well, he's a hard line Gobo.
That's
supporter.
true. He's biased.
Yeah.
He even supports Gobo in the Capture the Moon episode. He's the only one who believes Gobo can actually capture the moon.
Think Gobo. Yeah, right.
But Gobo tells Junior Gorg that you will sneeze only once more, then you'll be dead. And Junior Gorg yells out, I don't want to die. I have other plans.
Yeah, that was okay.
His dying, I think, was a very good scene. He falls down dead, he believes.
Yeah.
That's when he says being dead just feels like being alive. But then Pa Gorg also thinks he's dead because he comes out and he's like, a minute ago you were sick and now you're lying there. Ma!
Come on. I got bad news. I have no problem with Pa and Ma. I think they're okay.
Interesting.
Junior is my main issue. I think Pa and Ma can be pretty funny. But then this is another point where it's like, this is just another whole entire plot that they're throwing in where he's dead in front of the hole now.
Right. Just another thing to keep them from escaping this scenario that doesn't really have anything to do, like, an effect on their story of who's the leader, because they both try essentially the same idea.
Yeah, that was what bothered me the most, was that Gobo was like, your idea is so stupid. And then he tried the same thing. And that could have been fine if they had mentioned that, like, if Boober had been like, you guys just did the same thing. Neither of you are any better at this. But they don't. They don't seem to notice that they both tried the same thing, like the person writing the script.
Yeah. And this is when Boober is mad because Gobo and Red are disrespecting the dead body of Junior Korg.
Yeah.
And so they decided to, he decides to do a funeral dirge and starts off singing a sad song that when they ask him, where did you learn a funeral dirge? He says, I composed it in honor of my own departure. So he wrote the funeral song for his own funeral. But Red and Gobo think it's a little too depressing. So let's pick this up a bit and speed up the tempo. And they turn it into Dixie Wailin', which is the name of this song.
This is a good song.
I agree. We were watching it and I was like, I want this played at my funeral. And my wife said,
Oh, no. Okay.
No.
Oh, I'll make it happen, Matt.
You're going to outlive me?
No.
Okay.
I'll leave it in my will that has to be at your funeral.
But yeah, this song has like a nice like folk punk quality to it that I was like,
Oh, yeah.
I want to hear like a folk punky band kind of cover this. And then I went on YouTube. It's been done multiple times. I found many covers. I also loved this song. Don't love the storyline involved in it because in the middle of this, when they're like performing the song and getting the Gorgs to be distracted by dancing, they don't resolve their issues. Red and Gobo just look at each other and say, nice going, boss, at the same time. And that's the resolution to this storyline is they both were like, I guess we both thought of the idea to pick up the tempo for this song to distract them to go home. So we're both good leaders. And I feel like Boober should have been like, what? But thankfully, Doc and Sprocket are there to save this episode a little bit because Ned Schimmelfinney comes over now to rub it in Doc's face that he got 1,600,000 points. But Doc gets to yell the delightful line, and never darken my door again, Schimmelfinney.
I like that Doc has a friend now. It makes him feel a little less pathetic.
Yeah, I do like the competition that he has, where like sometimes he hates this guy, and other times it's his only friend in the world. But they throw the floppy disk out and decide to play a new game where they can co-pilot and play at the same time.
I gave that episode 1 star.
All right.
Hated it.
I do not hate it as much as I think Capture the Moon was such a down note for me.
Yeah.
That some of the
Capture
other
Moon
ones
is a slog.
Yeah, I think the other ones felt better in retrospect. Like after I watched Capture the Moon, I was like, well, those other ones weren't so bad.
Yeah.
But the storylines, the wrapping up of these storylines to me felt so cast aside. It felt like, again, sorry for the weird specific references, it felt like season 14 of The Simpsons.
Okay.
Back in college, I did the whole like rewatch, catching up on The Simpsons thing to see sort of like when is that moment when The Simpsons kind of takes a turn for the worse. And to me, it was season 14 when suddenly there's like 5 episodes in a row where they just don't resolve the main storyline. And there's even like a reference in one of the episodes where Lisa's like, well, we didn't deal with that problem. And Homer's just like, nope, we didn't. And they move on and the end credits roll.
I feel like that happens once in the earlier seasons and it's hilarious, but I can't remember which episode it is.
Whereas in season 14, it just felt like they forgot to write endings. And I feel like they didn't forget to write endings for this batch of episodes, but the endings were less important than they were in the first 12 episodes.
Yeah, totally.
Speaking of not caring, next episode, I Don't Care. This is
great
the one
title for an episode.
Yeah. Good job, Carol Bolt, who was just like, oh, what are we going to call this one? I don't care.
I don't care.
All right, perfect. Thanks. But yeah, this is the Doc inventing Rocket Sprocket to go pick up the paper. It's a terrifying battle bot of a dog.
He's horrible.
Yeah, he's steam powered for some reason, which doesn't seem necessary.
One of my favorite scenes in any of these episodes was when Boober is off sulking. He's kind of like running through the cave singing a sad song after he loses his bottle cap.
Yeah, he sings
And
Get
he
Blue,
passes.
Going Down the Road is the name of that song.
But the creatures he's passing are so cool. I love when we get to see like really weird parts of the cave with weird little critters.
Yeah,
And
he
I
gets
think
to
about
see.
how fun it would have been to build those little guys.
But yeah, that's something I think we've talked about previously. Is that at a certain point, the crew was just like sort of assigned, like, hey, we need some background Fraggles. Just build whatever you want. And so some of these wild designs are just people in the puppet shop being like, I guess I'll make this thing.
Yeah.
Which I think works really well for those strange, weird cave creatures. Because there's the ones specifically that are sort of like, they look like sort of like deep sea anemone kind of things where they like sort of like pop up out of a tube and have eyes on them and then like shrink back down into the tube.
Yeah. And I love he's singing this song and they're like singing the backup vocals and he's like, shut up. He like bops that one on the head.
Well, it also is, those I think feel the most like early Henson scrap flap kind of puppets that we don't see a lot of anymore in any Muppet productions. And I feel like the cave creatures are the closest we come. I mean, the fact that food is one of them creeping around there shows that it is just, that is the place where ugly, creepy puppets get to live.
Yeah. Yeah, they're right next door to the North Pole where all the Frackles are being subjugated by Magic Mike or whatever his name is.
I don't think it's Magic Mike.
Who knows? A bit of buzz marketing for Magic Mike 3, The Last Dance.
Yeah, Magic Mike is actually Cosmo Scam is the name we were looking for there. But yeah, this is another one of the Hey, Life Sucks songs that we get very often on Fraggle Rock. It includes the line, people say they're happy, but people are wrong, which is, you know, a great line from Boober. And also is great when he later sings a happier version of this song, but does not change the words at all.
Yeah, I really like that too.
Yeah, Boober can be happy, but he still has this grain of sadness inside of him at all times. There is a moment in this song because Boober's on his way to the trash heap to replace his lucky bottle cap that Wembly made him drop. There's a moment during the song where he walks past some birds in a tree and a little like clam-looking monster. I have no idea where he is in that scene. Yeah,
it felt like he was like going a back way to the trash heap that didn't make him go past the gourd garden.
That's exactly what I wrote down. It feels like it must be above ground, like in a Gorg world. Yeah. And I was trying to see if like, okay, does he walk from the side over here? Like, is that what is like sort of left of the Fraggle hole? If you go to the left of Fraggle, like Rock's hole, is that what's over there? And it's really hard to tell, but we've never seen like trees and birds down in Fraggle Rock.
Yeah, it felt like the episode was going to be about him being lost or something because he just
wanders off.
Place. Yeah.
Again, there's a nice episode similar to that in Back to the Rock where he like goes underground into like the trash heap, kind of like he goes into the pile of trash. Yeah. But I was just trying to figure out like where that is because normally we see the characters have to go through the gourd garden to get to the trash heap. And we don't see that moment. We just see him go through this weird bird area and then show up at the trash heap.
Yeah. Maybe he's just got a more sensible path he takes that he doesn't tell anybody about.
But you guys keep getting captured, and I suffer the consequences, so I'm gonna...
Or it's like the coward's way, you know? Like...
It takes like 3 hours.
Route is to, yeah. The direct route is through the gourd garden. It takes 2 minutes. And then there's the hard way where there's not any danger, but it takes forever. And everybody makes fun of you for going that way.
Yeah. That feels, for now, canon.
We're really fleshing out the Fraggle world, you know?
Yeah. It's all us. We get to the trash heap, and we learn that she hates new trash. She wants that old grimy shit.
Yeah.
She does not want this brand new blanket that Philo and Gunge have brought her because it looks new. But she is willing to give it to Boober and lie to him about it being a lucky blanket.
Yeah, which she's done before with the hat, right?
Yeah. Well, she's just lied to him and said, like, hey, don't take off your hat and you'll be brave.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, Boober is clearly the sucker for these kinds of things. Like, you'd think Wembly would be, but Boober falls for it every time.
Yeah. I think he is brave. He just needs the excuse to.
Well, and he learned that lesson in the hat episode.
He's a cartoon character, Matt. Come on.
I did like that when Philo and Gunge were trying to sell him on the blanket, they said the last guy who had it inherited an ice cream factory, found a pony, and then met the president.
Ice cream. They mentioned ice cream, and Boober knew what it was. There we go.
You're right.
Yeah, I was more okay with this trash heap scene. I thought was pretty fun.
Yeah, because I feel like it's a bit of like Philo Gunge and Marjorie working together because they're like, ah, shit, he called us out. How do we cover our tracks? And they're all sort of like helping each other out by telling this story of like, no, he inherited an ice cream factory and he met the president.
Yeah.
And well, why did he get rid of the lucky blanket? Oh, someone probably gave him a lucky bobsled. Like, it's very
And
good
you
at-
had mentioned that the trash heap would get more helpful, and I was a little worried about that. But she seems even
I
less
was going to say, so far, that has not been proven.
yeah.
We do get back to Fraggle Rock, and for some reason, unexpectedly, Moki is putting on a play that had not been mentioned earlier.
She's creative,
I'm fine with that. It was weird that it wasn't mentioned.
I think it actually had been mentioned.
Oh, was it?
I feel like there was one little line where it was like, oh yeah, and Moki's doing something for her play. Like, I think-
you're right. It's during the list of when Boober was saying the things that he can do now that he's brave because of his lucky bottle cap.
Oh right, he can be in Moki's play.
I
Or,
think
like,
the way it was mentioned, I thought it was just like referencing a thing that could hypothetically happen.
Yeah,
Not that
right.
was happening in this episode.
Right.
But you're right. It was mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And so, they get back. There's some nice little moments during that play scene where Red stands up for herself and she's like supposed to be playing a princess. And she's like, who needs a
Yeah.
prince? I can rescue me.
Yeah, I liked Red in this episode.
Then it's quickly ruined because Boober comes in excited to play the fiery charger, who is maybe like a horse dragon,
I think, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
but he is forced to play the back end while
He's the
Gobo
butt
plays
of
the front.
Yeah.
And Moki says, what's the problem? All you have to do is bend over. And he yells, I don't want to bend over.
And then she just takes his blanket right out of his hands.
Yeah, everyone's so mean to him. Like they're mean to Wembly, and we love you, Wembly. But they're specifically mean to Boober in this. Like, Wembly doesn't stand up for himself in the episode. He lets everyone kind of walk all over him.
Boober kills a man because he is so upset in this episode.
Well, and he's constantly telling people that he is upset. He's not saying I'm angry. He's avoiding saying I'm angry because he's going the disappointed route. But clearly he is venting his frustration with them. And everyone's like, yeah, no big deal, though. I'm going to take your blanket and get paint
You're
all
just
over it.
Boober, fuck you.
Yeah, it's. I think that's why, like, to me, this one felt meaner than the Wembly one, especially when we get to the ending of it, that it just kind of like fell apart for me.
Uh-huh.
Because Red specifically is an asshole throughout
She's
this episode.
horrible, yeah.
And when he finally loses it, when they get paint from a trellis all over his blanket, they're like, well, you like laundry so much, why don't you just wash it? And he yells, you've been disrespectful to my blanket. I'll never forgive you. But yeah, it's there's some very good moments in this that I like about Boober, but I'm also sad that they're being so mean to him. When he hides away in his little hole, there's a moment where he's sort of like yelling at them to leave him alone, and he, drags Gobo. Or he's like, oh yeah, and Gobo's just going to be like, let's all be friends. I'll read you a postcard from my Uncle Traveling Matt. And then Gobo's like, I do have
I
one.
got it right here. Yeah.
So Gobo, not a very self-aware Fraggle.
I'm loving the disrespect of Gobo for sure.
I feel like Boober and Gobo could come to blows at some point.
Yeah. And Red too. I think she could also easily beat Gobo up. Rip up one of his postcards, just be like, shut up. These suck.
Nobody cares. We do get that postcard, though, where Uncle Traveling Matt sees a guy throwing a boomerang, or as Uncle Traveling Matt says, throwing away a curved stick. And apparently he is very skilled at throwing away sticks. So he's going to help out this man. He throws the boomerang, and it hits him in the head.
I just wish they would try a little harder to make them match the theme of the episode.
Well, and they say it like it does.
Yeah.
Like Gobo says, sometimes it's impossible to get rid of something you don't want, which has nothing to do with this episode.
No.
Other than Boober gets to follow that up with, like, sometimes it's impossible to keep the things you do want.
Right.
Because of his blanket. But it has no bearing on the actual episode itself. But then Gobo does suggest talking out their problems because Boober is sulking. And when Red leans in to talk to him, he shoves a pillow in her mouth. And then Red threatens to kill him. But they're going to solve this in the Hall of Justice where they sing I Swear to Be Fair, which is another Fraggle oath. Not the same Fraggle oath that we previously saw, but a new one.
Yeah. This is the Hall of Justice oath.
Yes. It's a very Muppety song, which I know sounds weird to say, but it feels like Hey, a Movie from The Great Muppet Caper.
Yeah, it does. I really liked it. It got a nice message, even though none of the Fraggles ever abide by swearing to be fair and to treat everybody like me.
No, not at all. But there's some big-ass books in this Hall of Justice, which I can't tell if they're supposed to be like human-sized books that they stole, but they look even bigger than human-sized.
Books, perhaps.
Like the scale. Yeah, they could be Gorg books. I don't feel like Gorgs read much.
Well, they have myths. They have the Gorgic myths, so they must
That's
have
true.
some kind
That
of
could be
written-
that could be an oral tradition that's passed on through out loud stories.
I think the Gorgs are more complicated than we give them credit for.
I mean, they're going to die off as a race, it seems, very soon, because there's only 3 of them.
left, I guess, yeah. I liked that there's a little bit of continuity in that the mark of the Fraggle was from that music box was behind them in the Hall of Justice. I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, I like that there is that little bit of continuity where that seems to be like a mark of important things. Like it was the mark of where the treasure was. It was the mark of the music box. It's the mark on the wall in the Hall of Justice, which who knows if we'll ever see the Hall of Justice again. But it is, I have many ideas for Muppet tattoos that I'll maybe want to get one day. But I do feel like the mark of the Fraggle is one that like might get added to that list if I fall more in love with Fraggle Rock.
That's a tattoo I could see myself getting. And I don't even have any tattoos or ever really want one. But
That'd be a wild first one.
I like that symbol a lot. Just get a little tiny one somewhere. Be like, look at it and remember to be fair and treat everybody like me.
This is just more disrespect towards Boober when Red is mocking him and making a bunch
This is like a Muppet Show skit because she's making puns about court stuff.
Yeah, Gobo says he's like the chair of this thing, and she's like, well, I'll be the table. And Boober can be the shelf. And he's like, well, why don't you make me the doormat?
And she's just going insane and flailing around.
Yeah. And in the mix of that is when they spill the blueberry juice on his blanket. And Wembly uses Boober's speech to wipe up the blueberry juice. This 65-page speech or whatever it is that Boober has been writing. And I felt so bad for Boober throughout this entire episode.
I just think this one I felt bad for him, but I felt like this one was pretty, like this one addresses a problem that people really have, I guess, which is like, you think this is stupid, but your friends don't think this is stupid.
Yes. And I think that's something that, weirdly, as podcasters, like, it's very easy to fall into that trap where we can talk about something on this episode or this podcast. I'm sure we've done it literally this episode where we reference like something like another piece of pop culture or a band. And because we have a platform where we have to spout opinions, we're like, yeah, that's stupid thing, right? Take that, Nickelback. And somebody out there's like, Nickelback is my favorite band ever. And I'm like, oh, we just lost a fan.
I thought you were going to say it because we talk about stuff that other people think is stupid all the time.
Well, I was going to put myself on the other side of that, but maybe that says more about who we are, the sides of that we took.
Yeah, you're a Gobo and I'm a Boober.
Well, can't wait till we come to blows on this podcast. We learned that the trash heap has an uncle named Maximilian that apparently has a Q in it, or she's just making that up to fill out a crossword. She suggests cleaning the blanket as a solution, which, wild that it takes her to come up with that idea. And they do, but they eventually shrink Boober's blanket. Yeah. But while they're doing that is when we get to see Boober getting so angry that he's trashing Doozer Towers. Doozers, who, by the way, we saw nothing from in this batch of episodes. Like, any personality that we saw in the first 12 episodes, nothing is present in this. I don't think we hear a Doozer speak in this batch of episodes. But Wembly gets in the way, trying to calm him down, and he throws Wembly across the room into a Doozer tower.
He, lifts off the ground.
Yeah. Boober's secretly strong.
Yeah.
And Wembly gets crushed under a tower of Doozer sticks. And he thinks Wembly might be dead. And to be fair, the show doesn't do a job, doesn't, convince us that he's not, because he's sadly mourning over his limp body, and they cut away. They're like, well, let's not look at this anymore.
Fade to commercial, yeah.
And this is, this is the part where, wrapping it up, he brings Wembly in. Wembly turns out to kind of be fine. But this is the part where, the lesson turns in the episode, and it becomes, hey, Boober, calm the fuck down. You can't throw your friends into towers, which I agree with. Boober shouldn't have tossed Wembly into a Doozer tower.
Yeah.
But the lesson of this episode is not, don't get too angry.
It's not Red was being fucking awful.
Yeah, it's, and And Boober just has to sort of accept it. And he's like, well, all right, well, you're right, guys. I shouldn't be so angry. Let me show you how to wash the blanket, you shrunk.
Also, good thing you shrunk my blanket because we used it to revive Wembly.
Yeah, I think it just like immediately discredits the way Boober was feeling throughout this entire episode.
Yeah.
Like it just is saying like, oh yeah, no, Boober was in the wrong the whole time, which he was not.
Yeah, it's so frustrating when you also can like see how the episode could be fixed so easily with just like this Red saying like, I know this was important to you. I'm really sorry that I
that's
shrunk
all
it.
like literally waiting for an apology. And like the
Yeah.
closest we get in this batch is Moki in the We Love You Wembly episode saying that like, oh my God, we did not mean to do that, Wembly. We didn't realize we were doing that. And she comes pretty close.
Yeah.
But this is the complete opposite of that, where everyone's realization is like, oh wow, yeah, Boober, I guess you were the one who was wrong the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, even their
scary.
initial instinct of, okay, everyone's being a jerk to Boober. He's mad that we broke his stuff. Let's take this to court because we can't figure out who's in the right here.
Yeah, that was pretty weird.
Like, the only people who can solve this is the courts because, friends can't talk their shit out and realize that, like, oh, yeah, no, I was being a jerk. Sorry.
Yeah. And also, the court is just all your friends roasting you, basically.
Well, we've avoided it long enough, Sam. It's time to talk about Capture the Moon a little bit more.
I gave that one 3.5 stars, though.
Oh, okay.
I liked that one.
Getting in...
Capture the Moon, I gave 2 stars.
Wow, I'm actually surprised it got more than...
I gave it points because it was... They were trying really hard.
Gotcha. A for effort kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as we said
C
earlier,
for effort.
there is no Boober in this episode after he just had his big feature in the last episode.
Yeah.
We do have, though, some very bad, fake-looking moon and clouds throughout this episode that I didn't really understand. When they show what's supposed to be the real moon that Doc is looking at, it's just a glittery ball of light with some very bad, like CGI kind of clouds.
B-roll of the moon?
Right? At this
Yeah.
point, we've been to the moon. Like, we have good pictures of the moon.
Yeah. And NASA's public domain. So
Yeah,
they
it was
coulda used
bizarre
the
to
moon.
me how like high school theater play this moon looked throughout the whole show.
It would have been okay if the Gorg moon had been like that, because then it might be a little bit more like, what is going on?
We
in
would
the
have,
Gorg?
we would have had a line of like,
But-
okay, so the Gorgs do live in a different world than Doc,
Yeah,
but this just further cements that they do somehow live in the same world.
right. This is before Google Google Maps. So now that we have Google Maps, we know exactly where the Gorgs
We
live.
can track them down.
Drone strike them. Before they get us, because they're big.
They are 22 feet tall.
Yeah.
So they could come for us quite quickly. Doc has an encyclopedia of the moon, which I found very charming in this episode because he's trying to figure out how to get Sprocket to not howl at the moon
Trying to
anymore.
help his buddy.
Yeah.
Sprocket's having a hard time.
And yeah, the crux of this episode is that Gobo is the moon greeter who typically people just sing songs or like read poems about the moon. But he's like, no. I got to do something fancy and flashy. I'm going to capture the moon. But you mentioned specifically liking the Shine on Us Now song in this episode, which to me sounds a lot like the Frankie Valli Big Girls Don't Cry
Oh.
song. It's just like, shine on us now. Like, had a very, like, Big Girls Don't Cry kind of melody to it.
I liked the electric guitar accompaniment. It sounded like a prog rock song, you know? That was what I liked about it.
This is a very big episode for the world's oldest Fraggle, who is also an extremely mean Fraggle, especially to his henchman, Henchy Fraggle,
Yeah.
who's his sidekick, who debuts in this episode. Multiple times he yells at him, "Don't sass me," as he bonks him on the head, and calls him Gorg bait.
He wore a little thin on me this time.
Yeah, it just, like, this idea of, I feel like we saw this sort of, like, the hapless leader in the one where the Finger of Light episode where he was leading them down to go find the new leader. And in that one, his stupidity felt like it matched the story a little bit better.
Yeah.
In this one, it just feels like, oh, he's just going to be that character who doesn't know anything but has been elected to power, essentially.
Yeah. And he was mean in that other one, but he was even meaner in this one. Like every line was like him being mean, basically. Like we mentioned in this episode, they're so stupid.
Yeah.
They're like as stupid as Traveling Matt is, which makes the show very annoying.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing with this episode is just constantly being like, you're all really dumb in this episode. Like, not
Yeah.
a single character was there being like, hey, I think it might just be a reflection. Like,
Yeah.
if Boober had been in this episode, and he could have just been the one of like, guys, I'm trying to tell you it's a reflection. And even if the episode ends with nobody believing him that's a reflection, but we know he's right,
Yeah.
I feel like that would have helped it just a little bit to ground a little bit more. Whereas in this, every single Fraggle is just buying in wholeheartedly to this bizarre concept.
Yeah. Yeah, and the fact that it's such a, like, I don't know, it's not a very interesting concept makes it worse, too.
Well, and it falls apart multiple times, and then something happens, and they're like, oh, no, you were right. Never mind. I like, though, in this episode, they have a spooky, foggy Gorg castle
Yeah.
that they show us where the windows are all sort of red, and there's a lot of fog around it. And this is just to show, I think, that Junior Gorg in the middle of the night is having a
It's a
nightmare.
spooky night.
I do like this episode from his point of view because he does get to like actually impact the Fraggles world without just
Yeah,
trying
I
to
thought that
capture
was
them and
cool.
eat them or thump them on the head, whatever he's always trying to do. But yeah, after his nightmare, after we see his cute onesie, Pogorg asks him to get him some water from the well, and so he goes over to the well to get the water and drops his cup down into the Fraggle world. And this is when he leans over to get the cup, and he Winnie the Poohs himself and gets stuck in the Fraggle well.
Yeah. Was the implication of this episode, like, they don't know that the Fraggles are down in the well, and it would be dangerous for them to find out, and that's why Pa at the end is like, that was just a dream? Or is that, am I reading too much into it?
I think you might be. I don't know,
Okay.
because I feel like there's not a big enough reaction to like, holy crap, there's Fraggles down here.
Uh-huh.
But there's a little bit of that. But they also don't like instantly wage war on the well or something like that to like, you know, exterminate the Fraggles.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not entirely sure. But this is where Junior Gorg gets stuck in the well and is mostly just his upper half is stuck there. And obviously he's covering the reflection of the moon, leading to them yelling at him to give us back our moon. And he says, I can't do that. And Gobo says, can't or won't. And then Junior's like, both? So I just like their, again, I like them having an actual conversation.
Yeah, I thought that was neat. It would be neat to have, like, maybe, like, towards the end of the series, like, he gets stuck in there and they're like, look, man, don't thunk us on the head. We're just trying to eat radishes down here.
And I think some version of that might happen in the future.
okay.
I think we might get a little bit more nicer interactions at times between the Fraggles and Junior Gorg. We do get that in Back to the Rock for sure. For some reason, Junior Gorg thinks he still might be sleeping. He thinks this might be part of his nightmare of Fraggles crawling all over him. And so they sing a lullaby, I guess, to keep him asleep.
I did not follow why they were trying to put him to sleep.
I think they were just trying to go with it of like, okay, he thinks he's asleep. So that means
Yeah.
we can sneak up there and get the moon if he's asleep. So let's actually put him to sleep with a lullaby. But instead, they put themselves to sleep with a lullaby.
That was cute, but it was such a sweaty premise.
Well, I think there's a time to time, like, there's these songs like this one that I feel like they wrote a good song and they were like, how do we use this in a story?
Oh,
And they're
that
like,
kinda
I
makes
don't
sense.
know. I just like the song. And they're like, all right, we'll find a space for it.
Right.
Like the one when Red was trying to be Moki and they were just like singing this fast song that kept speeding up. The song
Yeah.
itself kind of just came out of nowhere. And the only purpose it serves is like, okay, Red's trying to keep up and doesn't really go anywhere. And so I feel like every so often there's a song that they just kind of wrote as a good song and then had to fit it in somewhere as opposed to taking the story and turning it into a song.
That's a good point. I do wonder how often that happens.
But yeah, this is a part of the sweaty premise of this episode. This is where even though Pa Gorg come and pulls Junior out of the well, the clouds then perfectly timed cover up the moon. And so they think the moon is still missing and the Gorgs still have it. And so they're going to take the cup that Junior Gorg dropped to go capture the moon. This is when we learn that Wembly has invented the wheel
Yeah.
because they found a round cover for their barrel. And they say like, oh, Wembly, you invented this? And he's like, yeah, I call it the wheel, but it doesn't work because it just keeps rolling away.
They've got it. They've got to be using wheels in
The
other episodes,
doozers
too.
have wheels on all of their devices.
on everything. I forgot about that.
There are many wheels.
Yeah.
There are more wheels than doors in Fraggle Rock.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess this almost felt like a spec script or something from somebody who like knew the general premise of Fraggle Rock, but didn't quite like.
And maybe it was because he only did
Yeah.
write one episode. So
Yeah.
maybe this was like, yeah, we'll try this out. It seems like Fraggle Rock has a lot of different writers.
Yeah.
And in an upcoming episode, we might get some insight into how that process worked.
Wink.
Apparently, this is the only time, according to Muppet Wiki, that Uncle Traveling Matt's postcard cover is actually acknowledged because, for some reason, it has a rainbow on it. And we see a little sketch here where Uncle Traveling Matt goes to Rainbow Farms, which is just a normal farm called that. But he believes this is where rainbows come from. This is where they grow the rainbows. And he finds an egg in the chicken coop and thinks that a rainbow will hatch. And so he sits planning to watch the birth of the rainbow. But of course, he also falls asleep for no good reason, misses the hatching, looks outside, sees a rainbow, and says how quickly they grow up.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Why does it happen?
Nothing to do with this episode at all, other than saying, hey, Fraggles don't know how light works.
Yeah, misunderstanding something about physics or whatever.
Yeah, thinking this thing is a tangible thing you can grab, whether it's a reflection in a pond or a rainbow in the sky.
Yeah.
But they don't realize in that moment of like, yeah, Uncle Traveling Matt, you can't grab rainbows.
Yeah.
They just go, oh, yeah, that's a smart thing. Too bad he couldn't catch one. Yeah, they think they captured the moon because they see its reflection in their little barrel. But nobody believes them when they come back because they open the barrel underground. No moon in there. They spill it into the pond, though, and of course the clouds have cleared. The reflection shows back up, and
There's the damn
everyone
moon.
suddenly believes that Gobo was right. Yeah, the only thing that really came out of this one for me is realizing that the world's oldest Fraggle is like the perfect middle ground, voice-wise, between Boober and Gonzo. It's got that little tinge of Gonzo and that little tinge of Boober, and it's right there in the middle.
Yeah.
But other than that, I did not enjoy this one.
No, I didn't either. It was so boring.
What'd you rate that episode?
I said already that I rated it 2 stars.
Oh, that's
but
right.
In the intervening, I'm taking a half a star away from it.
Okay. Yeah, I think that might be my least favorite episode so far.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't like the challenge, but that's for personal reasons. Just because I hate Junior Gork so much. But this one was just like, oh, get on with it, please.
Well, speaking of getting on with it, please, it's time for our Muppet of the Week. This week's Muppet of the Week is Moki Fraggle. She's the one with the pink skin and fur and bluish hair, has the big old gray robe-like sweater. She also has a necklace that she wears that has a ring pull, like a can opener thing, on a string of beads.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know in Back to the Rock again, they reference more what she has and why on her necklace, and she has some more doodads on there than she just has the ring pull like right now. She is supposed to be the oldest of the Fraggle Five, which again, I don't know if we get these things written out somewhere or they say it in an episode that Wembly's the youngest and Moki's the oldest, but...
Or it's like an episode Bible or something, or like a series Bible or something.
Yeah, which I believe at some point the Fraggles themselves get like a show Bible within the show that they reference to look up things about Fraggle history.
Okay.
Yeah, in looking up something else about these episodes, I learned that there's an episode in the future where there's actually a genie.
Wow.
That Wembly releases a genie, and so they have to look up the history of genies. I think that's like the 3rd season, so we have a while till we get there, but genies are apparently real in Fraggle Rock at one point. But yeah, Moki is the hippie-like meditative Fraggle. Her job, as we've discussed previously, is to pick the radishes from the Gorg's garden. On the note of her being the older one, notably, they changed up the look of Moki for the new series Back to the Rock, purposefully to make her look a little bit younger and less like the cool aunt of the Fraggles.
Okay.
And so they changed up her hair a little bit. They brightened up the pink color and put her in a shirt instead of an open robe.
I have to see it for myself, but I don't like new Moki.
I think the initial reaction is startling to be like, okay, I know this is the same character, but it's hard to follow. But as the show goes on, you just sort of lean into it a bit more. But I do think it is maybe one of the most drastic Muppet redesigns we've seen.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of other ones through the years like subtly change, and they might look a lot different now than they do early on. But I feel like to have a very established character who looks like one thing suddenly look very, very different is more rare in the Muppet world.
Yeah, and I think in Fraggle Rock, she looks like a grungy art student. They nailed it. I don't think she looks like an ant.
Well, I think now she goes from like grungy art student to now looking more like the art teacher, is what she looks more like in the new ones. My personal thoughts, thinking about Moki, I think she's probably the Fraggle most likely to either start or join a cult. Is the vibe I get off of her.
Assuming they aren't already all in a cult, which it kind of seems like they are.
I mean, if Marlin has his way, one day they will be. As a puppet, Moki has both movable eyelids and is also at times both a live hand and a rod puppet, switching back and forth as needed, whether she's, painting something or just walking around. They kind of switch back and forth between the live hands and the rods. And it's not quite as upsetting as I think Dr. Teeth has been in the past, where you see suddenly like a rod-controlled Dr. Teeth is like, what the hell happened to that guy? But like every other Fraggle, Moki debuted in 1983, Season 1 Fraggle Rock, and it was performed by Kathy Mullen. And Kathy Mullen performed Moki from 1983 until 2013 at a Dragon Con performance. As with other Fraggles, they were not used a lot throughout the 90s and 2000s, so there was a big gaps in the performances there. But then in 2012, in the Do It Anyway Ben Folds 5 video, Donna Kimball performed Moki for the first time in a non-speaking role. But Donna Kimball now is the main performer of Moki. Pretty much ever since the 2016, I believe she started kind of doing speaking roles for Moki in 2016, and now has been in Back to the Rock and all that other stuff. But as we referenced in the past, there is an animated series of Fraggle Rock, and in the animated series, Moki is voiced by Mona Marshall, who, like most voice actors, has hundreds of roles. But most notably, I think most well known is for the past 23 years, she's been the voice of Kyle's mom on South Park.
Wow.
Yeah. Few fun facts here about Moki Fraggle. Moki was apparently named after a childhood friend of Jim Henson's. This is a thing. Apparently Jim Henson had a friend named Moki. Don't know if that's a first name or a last name. Couldn't find any more information about it.
Or a nickname, perhaps.
That's true, too. But apparently in the ancient language of the Fraggles, Moki means put on your hat, which is the opposite of the meaning of Gobo's name.
Is that we must hear that? At some
we
point
must. That'd be a weird, wild thing for someone to just add in.
Right.
But in looking into Moki, I also found the Muppet Wiki page called Moki, M-O-K-I, not M-O-K-E-Y. And Moki is an unproduced concept for a TV film that was pitched by Jim Henson in April 1967.
Oh,
this was a film Jim wanted to make back in his, the Cube, the experimental film days. It was going to be about a gender-bending case of mistaken identity in which a long-haired androgynous man is mistaken for a female fashion model.
The hell?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. As far as I know, that's kind of all the information we have about it. Because Bernie Brillstein, who was Jim's manager, apparently shopped the proposal around. But this is from Brian J. Jones' biography. It says, however, the unorthodox subject matter was seen as too controversial for networks. One potential director, Howard Morris, told Brillstein in May 1967, this guy Henson's obviously got a nutty visual mind, but this story scares the bejesus out of me. It's not exactly dirty. It just ain't quite clean. The guy is very talented and it's a funny idea, but I guess I'm just old-fashioned. But yeah, I thought that was interesting that, Jim Henson had a friend named Moki apparently, and then also decided to make this film about a character named Moki, presumably, or which is called Moki, about, an interesting idea that we haven't seen explored anywhere else in his work.
Right.
But if you had to rate Moki Fraggle out of 10, what's she getting, Sam?
When I was a kid, I was in love with Moki. And, I still kind of like Moki. I think she's pretty cool. And I think her name is mostly the thing I like about her. I think Moki is such a beautiful name. It's fun to say. Moki. And I feel like I'd be friends with Moki, but very frustrated with Moki all the time.
Yeah.
But, gosh, Moki. What do I rate people out of 10?
Yeah.
Is that what I do? I'm going to give Moki 8 stars. I like Moki.
I'm going to go with a 7, because I totally agree with your idea of Moki being the friend who's more frustrating to hang out with sometimes, where they're just like yeah, no, I don't pay my taxes, but I'm sure everything will just work out.
And it does also for them.
That's the most frustrating
Somehow.
part. You're just like,
Yeah.
how? If I didn't pay my taxes, I'd be in jail.
Yeah. Or just like the friend is like, what do you do to, how do you have any money? Then you find out later that they have like rich parents.
Right,
you know?
inherited wealth.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh.
No wonder you're so relaxed all the time. Yeah, that's who Moki is. Moki's on the short list of Muppets I'd get married to.
I mean, especially for
Miss
that inherited
Piggy.
wealth. Why not?
And Moki. Those are the two I get married to.
It's a very short list, which makes it, I think,
Well.
more specific and weird.
It's like 75% of the female Muppets also, so there's not really a deep pool.
Janice doesn't make it to that list.
I think Janice would be too annoying. Janice doesn't seem like she has rich parents, but she needs to pay more attention.
You also can't tie Janice down. She's not going to
That's
settle
true.
down and marry you.
That's true.
Got a life on the road, Sam.
Yep, you're exactly right. And I wouldn't stand. Our relationship would wither under those situations, that kind of situation.
Plus, you'd probably have to fight Floyd and or Dr. Teeth.
Yeah. Yeah. Too much jealousy, too much complication.
You don't want to break up the Electric
me-
Mayhem.
Give me Moki, give me Miss Piggy. Those are the only two I need.
Thankfully, they don't ever interact with each other, so I think you're pretty safe there. You can marry them both and they won't know. This is my underground wife.
Yeah, she can't leave the cave.
Well, that got worse.
See you, sweetie. I'm going up, my whole body crawling up Doc's wall.
Oh, see, in my head, you had to be the same scale as Moki, because otherwise she's 2 feet tall.
Is she only 2 feet tall?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm tiny too then.
Yeah. All right, Sam. Well, that means it's time to ask you, what non-Muppet things did you enjoy this week? I didn't ask you this question last week, so you got a couple
Yeah.
weeks backed up here.
I've forgotten completely what I watched the week before last.
Well, that's
though,
all right.
so-
What'd you watch this week?
Oh, we went to see Puss in Boots.
Oh,
I gotta tell you, it's really damn
I
good.
have heard this from so many people, and it's bizarre. One,
Yeah.
that this movie exists, and two, that it's apparently very good.
Yeah, it's just like I don't even really want to like say too much about why it's so good. It's beautiful. It's really funny. The action scenes are great. I think that's one of the biggest things about it. It's just like you're so excited every time you know he's going to get into a sword fight because you know it's going to be nuts. And it's scary. We went to see it with a friend and his son, and it was his son's first movie.
Oh.
And he's like 3.5. And I looked over partway through, and his son was like curled up in his dad's lap, like terrified.
He's gonna
So,
hate movies now.
People die in this movie, and the like people like the Grim Reaper is in this movie and is terrifying.
He comes for us all.
And yeah. Like all the bad guys in it are really kind of spooky. So it's maybe not for like the littlest kids.
It's for the people who grew
but-
up watching Shrek, not the people who weren't alive the last time the Shrek movie came out.
It does reference Shrek, and when Shrek's just like in the background, like in a dream sequence for a second.
I was wondering, like, do they acknowledge that they're part of the Shrekiverse, or do they just like
Yeah.
not mention that?
I've never seen the first Puss in Boots, but it's apparently a prequel to Shrek.
Yeah.
This one is a sequel because Puss in Boots is like, he's like, oh yeah, hanging out with my friend Shrek, and it just kind of, he's like his life's flashing before his eyes, and he sees Shrek and Donkey for a second.
It's wild
all
that we have
kinda
a
looked at each
new
other like,
Shrek
yeah.
movie, essentially in 2023.
Yeah, but and when I think of Shrek movies, I think of like really obnoxious Disney jokes.
Yes.
This one is more like they like cleverly tie in a bunch of fairy tales, which I like wasn't expecting really. I was kind of like maybe this one will be a little bit more separated from fairy tale stuff, but they really do like it's not like oh this is so like this story is so stupid this character is gonna die. It's more just like oh it's like a clever spin on like what the interpretation of little Jack Horner could be or like what like one of the main characters is Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and they're adorable. They're like the bad guys of the movie, but they're also like really cute, and just like the way that they are presented is fun. And Jiminy Cricket is in it, and he's hilarious. That's the best part of the movie. I won't tell you why he's in it, but he's so funny.
All right.
Yeah, it was really fun to see in theaters because it's just big and beautiful.
See, I like
it
the
was really
art
good.
style has a little bit of that like Spider-Verse sort of painterly
Yes.
quality to it.
And when the fight scenes happen, it turns even more Spider-Verse-y. It's very like frenetic and like kind of like choppy a little bit in a cool way. It does not look like Shrek at all, which is good.
Yeah,
because Shrek's kind of horrifying.
well, yeah, you go back and look at Shrek, a movie that's now 22 years old.
Yeah.
It looks worse than you remember in certain places as far as the animation style goes.
We watched Bug's Life too.
Oh yeah,
just on a whim.
That's a smooth movie. Everything in that movie looks like it's made of plastic, which works well in Toy Story, not as much in Bug's Life.
I really like Bug's Life.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of wish they'd reanimate it, you know?
Like do like a nice little like PS5 upgrade kind of thing.
Yeah. I feel like that's bad to do for like Star Wars, but for some reason I wouldn't care if they were like, we put new skins on the bugs in A Bug's Life.
Yeah, I would. It'd be really interesting if Disney started doing that, or if they took like the Toy Story 4 technology and applied that to all the past Toy Stories.
Yeah, it's easy money probably.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to it might be complicated with the voice acting rights and stuff, maybe, but you could re-release them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never thought about them doing that, but it does make sense. Like, because it would probably be cheaper. Oh, I mean, definitely be cheaper than making a whole new live action remake of The Little Mermaid or whatever like that. So
Yeah.
I feel like because like the Final Fantasy remake on PlayStation or the Last of Us remake on PlayStation, like those kinds of things where it's like they took the bones, I guess Last of Us more so than the Final Fantasy one, but they take the bones of the original thing and just make it look better. Like 5 times, so you'll buy more versions of it. But that is something they could probably easily do if they had like the source material, like this, if they still had the old files. They could probably just like render out better textures across the board.
Oh yeah, there's a version of it where they could do that and just put it on the same skeletons, or
just like leave everything identical. It's like I mean I want to see a scene like this. I don't want them to do all of Toy Story like 4K Toy Story 4 style, but I would like to see a scene done like this.
I feel like a conversation is like when boomers are like, oh, it's great when they recolored those black and white movies. I'm sure it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But CGI looks so bad sometimes. Like the old CGI looks so bad.
But for me, that's like sometimes charming. It's like going back and watching the original King Kong, and you see like the fingerprints in his fur from where the puppeteers had to move it.
Yeah. That just feels different to me for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, I guess overwriting the original animator's work is bad.
But the animation would be there. The modeling would be different a little bit.
Yeah. I just want to see those bugs look really cool. When he goes to Bug City, it just looks so bad. And it's like, I know they could do such a cool Bug City now, but this is just not it. How about you? What did you watch?
I watched a bunch of stuff. I finished watching the 2007 F1 season.
2007?
Yeah, I told you about this before. I went back and I'm starting to watch all of Lewis Hamilton's career from the start. And there's like 20 races each season, and they're like 2 hours long. So it takes me a long time to get through an entire season. But I'm through the 2007 season, on to the 2008 season. I'll probably catch up with Commitment before I catch up with the F1 seasons. But I also watched yesterday the Royal Rumble WWE event. Chef's Kiss. The end of the Royal Rumble this year should have been nominated for Best Picture. It's just fantastic. It's hard to explain to anyone who hasn't watched it, but there's like this 6-month long story they've been telling that like culminated last night, and the way it was handled and the way it was told was just like very theatrical and really well done.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I've also been watching The Last of Us. The first 2 episodes are out as we're recording this. I love it. I love those games. Love the show.
I never played them.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Too scared?
And no. I think there's some games that just feel like they would take me too long. So then I tend to do games that are more like city building games or like arcade games where I know I can dip in and out, and not story based ones where I know when I don't play for 2 months, I'm going to be like, what?
Yeah.
What's going on again?
It was 2013 when that first one came out. So as far as like gaming standards go, it feels like an old game already. But they, again, released so many remakes of that game that you can like get a version that looks really good. And that one's not that long of a game. Like you can get through that one kind of quicker. The second one is definitely a bit longer and is more of an investment. But I think they're both some of the, like, not even arguably, I think like the best stories told in video games. ever.
Okay.
So definitely worth picking up. And have you been watching the show?
Well, Rachel doesn't like zombie stuff, so
Yes,
no.
I've also been watching this show alone, not with my wife, because she does not like scary things.
I might check it out because I've heard so many good things about it. But
It's really
it
well
won't be
done,
easy.
and I'd be curious to talk to somebody who hasn't played the games of how they enjoy it. Because so far, the only person I've talked to about it is a friend of mine who is like the biggest Last of Us game fan ever. And it's very good from that point of view because there's some very, like, they do the thing where, like, it's clearly a nod to the game. And if you played the game, it's like 1-to-1. The scene looks almost identical. But if you're just watching it as a show, you're not going to be like, ugh, they're referencing a video game. It's not like the first person Doom scene in the movie with the Rock. Where you're like, wow, look at this video game moment. But there's enough of it that you're just like, it feels like there's that personal touch.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe I'll try to watch it so that you can get your wish.
But my last recommendation that I enjoyed, just watched it the other night, that I think people should check out if they haven't already, is the Matilda musical on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
It's very good. I think whether or not you have seen the 90s Matilda movie, the musical is very, very good, and very funny, and great songs, great acting, all around, better than I ever expected it to be.
I haven't seen Matilda since it probably came out on video.
It holds up. I've watched it like maybe in the last 5 years. Danny DeVito's great, but yeah, it holds up. And I think this one shares a lot of the DNA because obviously the same original story. But I think there are things in this that are more specific references, like to the movie rather than the book, maybe. But no, it's very enjoyable. Well, before we go, we need to let you know what we'll be watching next time. And next time, we'll be tackling most of May of 1983 as we watch not only the next 4 episodes of Fraggle Rock, but also some Muppet TV appearances. So we'll be watching episodes 17 through 20 of Fraggle Rock Season 1, titled Marooned, The Minstrels, The Great Radish Famine, and The Garden Plot. And for the TV appearances, we'll be watching Statler and Waldorf popping up in a Harry Blackstone PBS Magic special. This thing's like an hour and a half long, and Statler and Waldorf pop up periodically through it. So we have the option to skim and just watch their parts. Or if you feel like watching an hour and a half long Magic special from 1983, you can do that. I think it's on the PBS website. Like, it's not on YouTube.
That sounds kind of tempting.
Yeah. It's got to be better than the Orson Welles thing, where he was doing magic on his weird TV pilot.
Though, at least the Orson Welles thing will stick with me forever, you know?
The last thing we'll be watching is Kermit and Sheena Easton performing on Happy Birthday, Bob. This is Bob Hope's 80th birthday special, which we also saw the Muppets at the 75th birthday special, I believe, for Bob Hope.
Right.
Speaking of that kind of thing, we talked in the past about those birthday variety show things and how, like, they don't happen anymore. NBC is doing one for Carol Burnett's 90th birthday, and the Muppets are not involved.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But also, time is a flat circle. Everything is just coming back around.
Yeah, like, I understand it's NBC, the ABC Disney family is probably not like, hey, yeah, you can have our Muppets, but it feels so perfect for the Muppets to pop up on this kind of variety special with Carol Burnett.
Yeah, one of their contemporaries.
Yeah, unfortunately not going to happen, so we'll have to go back to 1983 and watch Kermit and Sheena Easton. So we need to thank our friend Tuna for making the music for this podcast and Cassie Wilson for singing our theme song. If you're looking for a Commitment enamel pin or information on how to join our Patreon or anything else, commitment.com is the place to find those things. If you want to get a hold of us, you can do that on a contact form on the website or email us at mail@commitment.com. You can follow us and talk to us on Twitter and Instagram and Tumblr at CommitmentPod. And you can follow me at Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And as always, keep believing.
Keep pretending.